watching Fox Sports, home to Major League Baseball, the National Football League, NASCAR, and the new home of the BCS. This is America's #1 sports network.
Welcome to the Chevy MLB pregame show on Fox. Chevy, baseball's #1 fan in American Revolution.
General MacArthur returned to the Philippines.
And today, Major League Baseball returns to Fox. Starting with our first season 10 years ago and continuing today. If it happens in baseball, it happens here on Fox.
Red Sox fans have long to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. Over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws. Out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
This great game is better than ever, and it is a living study of the human experience. Joy, heartbreak, intensity, disappointment, ultimate victory.
The Diamondbacks are world champions.
So, since 1996, and right now in 2006, Major League Baseball history will again unfold here on Fox. And we will take another ride right to the deciding game of the World Series.
Two aces beat a full house.
So watch out. We're back.
Oh, it's scary. It should come with a disclaimer. We are back.
We are
Not
back,
us.
Jeannie.
Randy Johnson's arm of late.
Randy's not back right now. Couldn't hold a 4-run lead in the first. Blew 3 different leads. Beltran with a 3-run home run. Posada have to come out of the game.
Oh, look, it's another Yankee leaving the game.
Yeah,
3
what
key
else is there?
players leaving last night.
Absolutely. Mario Rivera, 2 on, 2 outs right here. Tie game. Johnny Damon has to play in for the base hit to take that away. Couldn't take the base hit over his head away. And Mario Rivera and the Yankees go down 7-6 yesterday, Jeannie.
It's hard to watch Mariano Rivera struggle as well. What is going on? Season number 11 of Fox Saturday Baseball.
Wow.
We thank you for being a part of it. Jeannie Zalasko along with Kevin Kennedy
We've been
back
here
for more.
all winter right here. We've
Just
been
sitting here since we got back from Houston. Hey, remember when Pedro Martinez predicted that the Mets would be more popular than the Yankees?
Well, you know
Getting
what?
ahead of ourselves here. A little giddy because it's our opening day, but they acted like they won something last night.
You know, 40-plus games in, they're in first place right now, but they've got some big additions. And one of the reasons David Wright could come up and hit in that situation is because the Yankees put Delgado, yes, Carlos Delgado, who is an addition to the New York Mets. They went out and spent some money. Minaya did a great job with that. Paul LaDuca's done a good job behind the plate. They got a bona fide closer. Yes, I know he's blown a few. Billy Wagner, don't worry. The league can't hit him.
All right, last year's topic continues. Randy Johnson, what to do?
It's off-speed stuff, and it's arm angle. I mean, he's got to make some adjustments. He's not a true power guy anymore, 97, 98. Yeah, he hits 95 once in a while, but the discrepancy between the fastball and the slider is not enough. He's got to throw more off-speed, and the hitters are just sitting on hard.
All right, from the Subway Series to the Windy City. Hey, it's still a Cubs town, but it is great to be a White Sox fan right now because of guys like Jim Thome.
The addition of Thome, 17 home runs, a two-seamer right there by Maddox, opposite field. Greg did not have his best day, Jeannie. Walked 5.
April, not a great May.
Burley did have a great day. Finished it off right here in the 9th inning. Complete game. Yeah, the White Sox still throwing some complete games. I like that style, Ozzie Guillen. Let him go out there and finish it off. Don't take him out. Mark Burley got it done. The White Sox are on fire right now once again.
Yeah, more on Thome in a bit. A change from last year, though. The Sox led wire to wire in the Central last season. Look out for the Detroit Tigers.
Jim Leland, the addition to the Detroit Tigers, coming back. You know, Leland commands respect. The players that I've talked to, Chris Shelton included, told me that. It's not that Alan Trammell didn't, but Leland has been there before, and the guys are playing for him very well. Right, and best pitching staff right now in baseball. Zamaya, young guy out of the bullpen, and Verlander. You know, these guys throw 100 miles an hour.
One of the letters at the end of the alphabet.
Yeah, hard names to say, but I'll throw it out there.
All right, it is opening day for us, but let's be honest. These guys have been going at it for a couple of months here. Guys like St. Louis Cardinals, Albert Pujols, just continues to get better and better. We did find one thing wrong with him. He doesn't have a triple this year.
Nothing wrong with Albert Pujols, I tell you. 20 home runs already, 50 RBIs. The Kansas City Royals are up at this point. They would lose this ballgame. And it is a shame that Albert Pujols has to come out this week and defend himself that, no, I have not done steroids, I've done nothing wrong. But that's the perception that's going on in this decade of the home run ball.
Yeah, speaking of steroids, allegedly, Barry Bonds' chase of history continues. He's at home run number 714 and counting. This would not be a way to hit a home run. It's a way to hit Barry Bonds.
Get a slider behind his back. How about 5 times going at Barry Bonds before he finally gets him? Joe West gave the warning prior to this. and told me the other day, he said, Kevin, I had to wait until I had conclusive evidence. And once Barry got hit, I knew I had to kick everybody out.
That was last night. Barry still trying, looking tired.
Well, not able to use and plant the right leg to get it done, to get through some baseballs. He's swinging the bat a little bit better, but yet he still sits at 7-13. So the afternoon game, we'll see if he's in the lineup today. I believe he will as a DH.
All right, so you think you're having a bad season? On his off day, Dusty Baker went fishing. Not only was the catch small, the propeller fell off his boat. He had to be towed to shore. Some would say that's a sign of things to come. Not Dusty or Juan Pierre.
I don't know why, but the manager always seems to get blamed. You know, I'm batting .220, but it's Dusty's fault? No, it's my fault.
I remember talking to Tony Russo years ago, and he told me that, you know, when you get close to the top in your profession, then you got a bullseye on you and people shoot at you.
The ever-positive Dusty Baker said this week he knows God never gives you more than he can handle, but he did tell God, all right, that's enough. But is it over? For that and more of the inside pitch, we turn to the man in the know, senior writer for FoxSports.com, Ken Rosenthal. All right, Ken, even Dusty Baker has heard if this weekend goes poorly for the Cubs, he is gone. Is that fact or fiction?
That's fiction, Jeannie. I don't think they're going to fire Dusty Baker. You can't hold him responsible for what has happened without Derek Lee. They didn't do enough to fortify their offense in the offseason.
Roger Clemens with the self-imposed June 15th D-Day. Is he coming back or what?
I think he's coming back, Jeannie, but he's got to convince himself through his workouts that he can be Roger Clemens. He doesn't want to go out like Willie Mays or Steve Carlton, be an object of pity or an object of scorn. He doesn't want to get hurt again. So, to me, the logical choice for him is the Astros, the only National League club involved in the bidding here. His last 2 years with the Yankees, he had a combined ERA of over 4. Last year with the Astros, 1.97. It's a lot easier to pitch in the National League.
All right, they are eyeing Barry Bonds in Oakland, not just for 7-14. There's talk he'd want to finish his career as a designated hitter, maybe for the A's.
Jeannie, I don't know how we can talk about Barry next year when it doesn't look like he might make it to next week the way he's hobbling around. He's got the knee, he's got the elbow, and, oh, yes, he's got some other issues as well, facing possible perjury charges. He's a subject of Major League Baseball's steroid investigation. I don't know how anyone can project what's going to happen with Barry Bonds next year, and I don't know that any American League team will want him as their DH.
An anonymous National League general manager said this week the Marlins have not been shopping Dontrelle Willis. Translated, he's gone, right?
Well, Jeannie, certainly other teams don't believe that because there were a ton of scouts watching Dontrelle pitch Wednesday night in Atlanta, and virtually every contender wants a shot at getting Dontrelle, and why not? Here's a guy you can control not just for this season, but for 07, 08, and 09. He's a guy who draws fans, he can pay for himself as his salary rise, and let's not forget, he won 22 games last season. So you're going to see a lot of action on Dontrelle Willis. I believe he will be traded.
Thank you, sir. Ken Rosenthal, a welcome addition of Fox Saturday Baseball. He will be joining us each week with the inside pitch. Here, we'll go for the manager on the hot seat. I'll put you on the hot seat, ex-manager.
Been there.
What's going on with Dusty Baker?
I'm not so sure it's going to be the front office's choice. I'm not so sure Dusty wants to be back after this year, should he get through the weekend. He's not going to be fired this weekend, and Ken Rosenthal's right in that regard. But the lifestyle for Dusty since he's been in Chicago has been very different for him. He likes to fish. He likes on off days, get away from the city and all that, and it's just a different lifestyle for him. He loves the ball club and the players love him. I've talked to many of them. But I'm not so sure he wants to be there after this year anyway.
Yeah, family's still living on the West Coast. Still ahead, remember these guys? You thought they were finished. You're not alone. But Tomei and Nomar are back with a vengeance and, more important, a hot bat. Who's on first in New York? Who cares as long as he's producing? That is reality in the big city for Giambi and Delgado.
The chase for the cup heads south. May 28th, the Coca-Cola 600 on Fox.
Chevy makes the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. And now they're making it easier to drive one. Down payment assistance from Chevy. You choose a Silverado or Colorado, Chevy will help you get in it.
Qualified lessees can use $1,500 down payment assistance to get a low-mileage lease on an 06 Silverado half-ton regular cab work truck two-wheel drive for around $199 a month after all offers. Residency restrictions apply. Call for details.
Chevy, America's #1 brand, America's #1 value.
See your select Chevy dealers.
After leaving here today, David and Melody Taylor left their landlord for a new home. This is where 11-year-old Zach Stuhler learned there's more to banking than the drive-thru. In this room, Price T. Bowie took the hungry hobo to the next level. It's not that life revolves around banking. It's that our bank revolves around your life. American Bank and Trust. Success happens here.
They're mistreated.
Am I just a little bit overweight?
No! They're cheated.
You were faking it.
Oh, don't sound so surprised. I fake things plenty.
They're defeated.
God, I just want to be pregnant already. We've been trying for so long, and I'm sick of it.
Thank you. And even a little conceited.
Why did we have the children?
Because I'm a sexy, sexy man.
Meet the desperate house guys of Fox 18. Weekdays starting at 5.
All year long, you've wondered how this day would end.
These terrorists are in control of 12 multiple warhead missiles.
Get ready to find out on the 2-hour season finale of 24.
60 seconds until they launch.
Mr. Barr will be taken care of.
You're a murderer!
Right here, right now, you are going to face justice! 24, the 2-hour season finale at 8/7 Central, Fox Monday. Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome back to the Chevy MLB pregame show on Fox. Chevy, baseball's #1 fan in American Revolution. One-time Peoria, Illinois resident Jim Thome understands the tradition of the Sox and Cubs, but admits you can't really get a grip on it until you play. They say it's intense, words that also describe Mr. Thome. Or maybe you forgot. Injury plagued almost his entire experience at Philadelphia. Thome limped into the lineup for just 59 games, managed just 7 home runs a year ago. Just what happened to the man who had the baseball world by the laces? Well, you could ask Nomar Garcia-Parra the same question. And right now, they've got a similar answer. Here in Hollywood, a surprise hit is called a sleeper. And this season in baseball, there are 2 sleepers. In the NL, Nomar Garcia-Parra has been a classic Tinseltown sleeper.
We were very pleased with him. He's worked very hard. He's got a lot of pride. But you know what? He's done very well.
And for the defending champs, Jim Thome has been a great surprise.
I think anytime you come to a new team, you obviously want to do good things, fit in, and trying to live up to why they got you.
And when you take a gamble, there can be no reward without risk.
High and deep to left center field. Nomar Garcia-Parra rips one. That is a grand slam for Garcia-Parra.
His desire to succeed and to return to the form he was in prior to the last couple of years was strong enough to take a chance.
One thing I've learned in the game is you can't necessarily believe all the opinions you hear, but you can believe your own and understand that what drives you inside is what ultimately should make you happy, and that's what I've tried to do.
It was a great trade. I mean, that was the thing that Kenny went out and did. And anytime you can get a guy that's a Hall of Fame player and, you know, can go out and hit 40 home runs, score 100 runs, drive in 100 runs, it's a move you have to make.
I know this guy for a long time. He's a great in the clubhouse. He's a gentleman. I regret not having this kid a long time ago. But it's like Michael Jordan here now because sometimes I want to give him day off and people will get mad at me because they come to see him play.
First and foremost is to win the ball game. You win the game, you know, everything's great. You know, and then the individual things you do with winning the game makes it all worthwhile.
White Sox have shown you how much they want to repeat as world champions, not only re-signing Paul Konerko and then complementing that, getting Jim Thome, giving up a great center fielder, Aaron Rowan, in return. But Thome has paid off. He had 8 home runs at the end of spring training. That told you right there he had bat speed. For Nomar Garcia-Parra, moved into the 3 spot right now. Nice move by Grady Little about 3 weeks ago. 3, 4, and 5 are right, left, right. J.D. Drew hitting behind him. Jeff Kent hitting 5th. Nomar has taken off. He's healthy. He looks like the old Nomar to me.
Never give up. Remember, it was this time last year Jason Giambi was on the fast track to nowhere. They even had a meeting to decide what was going to happen to his future, or maybe lack thereof. There was no sympathy across the Triborough Bridge, though, as Mets first baseman Carlos Delgado is now learning this city never sleeps because they've got baseball under the microscope.
Carlos Delgado's first Met hit is a home run.
New York fans are very passionate. They're knowledgeable, too. They know what's going on. They know what you should do in every situation.
A sky-scraping home run for Giambi.
I mean, if you're a Met fan, you don't go to Yankee Stadium, and yet, you know, Yankee fans don't go to, Shea Stadium.
They love their sports. They love their Mets. So, they come out and they want to cheer.
No doubt about this one.
One thing that draws you to New York is if you know any of the history of the game, that's the first place you look is, the pinstripes and the greats of the game.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Great pressure for me to be here and become part of the Mets organization. I'm here because I want to win.
Delgado to deep left field. Back goes Bay at the track, at the wall. It's out of here! Carlos Delgado wins the game.
That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Oh, what a shot. Luciano.
I came to New York to win games. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about anything that I was doing. I just wanted to be part of the team.
I'm not the rah-rah kind of guy that's going to stand in the middle of the room. You got to do this, you got to do this. No, but whatever we can do to get everybody on the same page to try to win, you know, I'm not shy about saying something.
I think people are really looking forward to this series.
I'm one not to play for the back page of the paper. I mean, even though some people believe that that's the most important thing, I'm all about wins and losses.
Carlos is having a great year. You know, of course, Pedro's having a great year, and Glavin's doing well this year. So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Driven out to deep center field, going back Damon. Still back, still back. It is over his head, and the Mets win the game.
Two key guys playing in New York. Jason Giambi and his 12 home runs, tied for 6th in the American League. First in walks with 41. Comeback player of the year last year in the American League. And with Sheffield and Matsui out, that's huge. Delgado, we talked about already. We know what he can do. The guy averages about 30, 35 home runs, 100 RBIs every year. Another great pickup by Omar Minaya, and he's paying off and really complemented the middle of that lineup with David Wright hitting behind him. Xavier Nady, kind of a sleeper, too, with 9 home runs for Mike Cameron. That trade worked out, too.
All right, we've been waiting since October to say this. Hate to cut you off. We got to get him out to the ball game. Could Freddy Garcia actually be the #1 Cubs fan? Why not? With a sub-1 ERA and 3-0 record versus the Northsiders. And it's Pedro going hunting for moose. The X Factor with the X-Men are coming soon to a theater near you as well.
The final stand will take place in 2 great American cities.
Make no mistake, my brothers. The humans will draw first blood.
In Chicago, the defending champs will stand their ground against their cross-city rivals, the Chicago Cubs.
Sometimes when you cage the beast gets angry.
And today in New York, there can only be one. New York, that is.
Fury that this world has never witnessed.
The Yankees are on the Mets' home turf, and now after years of Yankee dominance, the Mets are finally playing on even ground.
How's your throwing arm?
Throw me.
Now.
Just minutes away, it's interleague play.
They have their weapons. We have ours.
Will Chicago and New York become 2 urban settings for the final stand?
Nothing can stop us.
Crocs Tour Women's Final from Santa Barbara. Today on Fox. Check local listings.
How you doing? Good to see you, Mal. Good to see you. Oh. What she doing? Was she eating a burger? No, I'm a burger guy sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Don't leave top with me, you know what I mean? Oh, my God, that's nice little town. What's with her, man? Want sushi? Want she toasty? Don't use your fluffy jeans, they can't get. This burger. Cheesesteak right there, you know what I'm saying? Chop bars, all day onion, cheese, huh? And a story. Unbelievable. Hello. All right, baby, the meter's always running.
The Philly Cheesesteak Thick Burger. New at Hardee's.
Typically, you might expect to see our trucks sloshing through mud, roaring up and down hills, or handling heavy loads. But consider this. These trucks are all made by Honda, the most fuel-efficient automaker in America. A very good reason to look at them in a whole new way. Lease a Honda Pilot for $279 a month for well-qualified customers.
Fox tomorrow. Animation domination returns with a vengeance. The Simpsons season finale exposes more. Mandy Moore.
Cancel all my appointments.
Sweet! Then, Family Guy's 90-minute super freaking-tabulous season finale takes a glimpse into their futures. Knock, knock.
It's Meg. She had a sex change right after college.
Wow, she went to college? The season finales of The Simpsons and Family Guy. It all starts at 7, 6 Central tomorrow on Fox.
The the chase for the Cup heads south. May 28th, the Coca-Cola 600 on Fox.
We welcome you to the south side of Chicago, the home of the defending world champion, Chicago White Sox. It is a gorgeous spring Saturday in the Windy City, and yes, the Cubby faithful have somehow found tickets into U.S. Cellular Field. But for the second day in a row, interleague play returns in grand fashion as the Cubs take on the Chicago White Sox. Hi again, everybody. Alongside Darren Jackson, I'm Tom Brenneman, welcoming you to season number 11 of Baseball on Fox. We'll be with you each and every Saturday till October, and then the Division Series, both League Championship Series, followed by the World Series. And DJ, they're still celebrating on the South Side. They waited 88 years to win the world title, and they look like the best team in baseball again this year.
Well, you're right, Tom. And one thing about the White Sox last year, they did it with pitching and defense first, and timely hitting followed it up. This season, not much has changed except the big addition of Jim Thome. Jim Thome's a guy that's been in the heart of the lineup that can jump right on his back and let him carry him. Also, Dye and Konerko are doing their jobs. Everybody's getting it done this year for the White Sox.
As far as the Cubs are concerned, it's a dramatically different story. They are 7 games under 500. There's talk about firing the manager. All kinds of rumors swirling around, but the thing I think you have to remember, DJ, you pointed it out earlier, they're missing some key components to this team.
Oh, no question. When you're missing Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood in the starting rotation, that really hurts. And then, of course, when Derek Lee goes down, you really don't have much of a chance. They've got to get those guys back to contend at all.
The Cubbies and the White Sox. And at least right now, the White Sox are the best thing in town.
Is that credit or debit? Debit. Is that the card that puts money in your savings?
Introducing Keep the Change. Each time you make a purchase with your Bank of America Visa check card, we round up the amount to the next dollar.
So if this costs $3.24, your savings gets
76 cents.
And transfer your change from your checking to your savings account.
And if it were $3.52, you'd get
48.
13.
87.
We're making it easier to save for something important, like a really good education. Keep the change. Only at Bank of America. Higher standards.
From coast to coast, cops are cracking down on safety belt violations. It doesn't matter who you are or where you live. They'll be on the lookout. Cops write tickets to save lives. If you don't buckle up, expect a ticket. Click it or ticket.
I think it happens to a lot of guys over 50. See, I was always going during the movies and hating to stand up, going during a presentation and hating to stand out.
Speeches for you this afternoon.
And once I got there, I had trouble going, and I was going 3 times a night. I said to my doctor, I have a going problem. He said, you have a growing problem. It's not your bladder. Your prostate is growing. See, I had an enlarging prostate. My doctor prescribed Avodart.
Most medicines only treat symptoms. Avodart, with time, actually shrinks the prostate and improves urinary symptoms.
So I can go more easily when I need to go and go less often.
Only your doctor can tell if your symptoms are from an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition such as prostate cancer, so have regular prostate exams. Avodart is for men only. Women should not take or handle Avodart due to the risk of a specific birth defect. Tell your doctor if you have liver disease. Rarely, sexual side effects, tenderness, or swelling of the breast can occur. Call your doctor today. Avodart, for your growing problem.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
The White Sox have taken the field in front of a sellout crowd. We take a look at Dusty Baker's starting lineup today, presented by Taco Bell. Juan Pierre leads off in center field. Ronnie Cedeno, the shortstop. Todd Walker today, the designated hitter. Michael Barrett, the catcher, bats cleanup. Jock Jones in right field. And the slumping Aramis Ramirez is at third base, batting 6th. John Mabry to start at first base today. Matt Thornton in left field. And Jerry Hairston Jr. is at second base. And on the mound for the White Sox, 29-year-old 6-game winner, Freddy Garcia, 14-game winner a season ago. He delivers strike one, and we are underway in Chicago. Juan Pierre off to a very slow start with his new team, hitting just .229.
And taking a look at Freddy Garcia on the season, that 6-1 record, that gets it done. He is actually on a nice winning streak. And one of the main reasons he's been on a winning streak is he's slow and steady. Freddy works at his own pace, without a doubt. He never has had problems with lefties this year. No exception. He's handling them very well. They're only hitting .207. And oh, happy days. 17-4 since '04 in day games.
Bounces up there, 2-2 on Juan Pierre. We mentioned that Garcia last season, a 14-game winner, his first full year with the Chicago White Sox. And boy, was he lights out like the rest of this Chicago starting rotation in the postseason. A 3-0 record with an ERA barely over 2. Grounded to the right side. Konerko, the feed to Garcia, foot race to the bag, and the Cubs is out at first. Take a look at the White Sox defensively. The rookie Brian Anderson, their everyday center fielder, not hitting yet. They believe he will. Flanked by Pasetnik and Jermaine Dye, last season's World Series MVP. Freddy, Uribe, Iguchi, and Konerko along the infield. And A.J. Pierzynski yesterday in the opening inning committing his first error since midway through last season.
Yeah, A.J. had that streak of 155 errorless games.
Strike one to the rookie shortstop Ronnie Cedeno, having a nice start to this season. He's batted everywhere up and down the Cub batting order, but they are looking for any offense whatsoever wherever they can find it, and Cedeno bangs one into left field, a base hit. Pasetnik over to cut it off, and Cedeno a one-out single here in the opening inning. Talked about the Cubs offense. Dead last in just about every major statistical category there is. Average, runs, hits, total bases, doubles, on base percentage, slugging percentage, home runs, you name it.
And they're only 7 games under 500. That truly is hard to believe. I mean, no offense. The pitching has given them a chance, and still they're missing their big guys. So they're going to improve once they get them back, Tom.
Todd Walker batting in that 3-hole vacated by the man who arguably was the National League's most valuable player a season ago, Derek Lee. Lee wound up finishing third in the balloting behind the winner, Albert Pujols, and the runner-up, Andrew Jones of the Atlanta Braves.
Derek Lee is somebody that this team was really counting on, Tom, to go ahead and be in the heart of their lineup and work everybody else around him. And once they lost him, he was irreplaceable. So they really have not been able to fill that kind of a void.
Runner started, then stopped. It's on the inside corner, a called strike to even the count at 1-1. The numbers last year for Derek Lee, just mind-boggling. It's hard to believe those numbers were not good enough to win an MVP.
Hey, wrong place, wrong time. He's playing for the Cubs, who, of course, when you do not play for a contender, it's very difficult to be an MVP. The last time I think that happened for a team that was down in the standings was Andre Dawson back in the day with the Cubs.
1-1 account on Walker, and a bouncing ball will find a hole in the right field, a base hit. Guy getting to the ball quickly, and Cedeno, after a hard turn, will stop at second base. So much like the opening inning yesterday, the Cubs are threatening. They did score in the first inning against Mark Buehrle.
One thing that we're going to have to keep an eye on today is the fact that teams have run at will against Freddy Garcia. He has a very long arm delivery. Opponents realize that there's not much Freddy Garcia can do about it. He's going to go ahead and do whatever it takes to get hitters out, but at the same time, he knows he's going to be taken advantage of on the base paths.
Michael Barrett, maybe as much as anyone in the Cub lineup, has been directly affected by the departure of Derek Lee, the injury to Derek Lee. First 3 weeks of the season, Barrett knocked in 18 runs, was batting over .320. Since the 22nd of April, he has knocked in 1 run. Breaking ball in there, a strike. And boy, if you don't hit with runners in scoring position at the end of the day, DJ, I think most baseball people feel if you hit with runners on base, you're going to win games. And the Cubs this year hitting .233. Well,
amazingly, Tom, that is one of those statistics that's really important. You have to be able to deliver when they're out there. You can't leave them on the base paths. And one of the phenomenal things about being on a team that plays well as a group and as a whole is it's like a piggyback effect. Everybody jumps on. When one guy's driving in the run, the next guy wants to. And as it appears for the Cubs in this situation, nobody's really stepping up and taking up the brunt of it for Derek Lee. And now they're really cold.
A little bit better on their just completed homestand. You saw those numbers. Winning 2 out of 3 against Washington. There goes Cedeno, and it's grounded to third. And this should be a double play to win the inning, and it is. Greedy, Iguchi, Kadarko, and Garcia off the hook.
Better health. Sometimes it's in the genes, but as often as not, it's connected to the quality of the information you have at hand. And that's what makes WebMD America's most trusted health information source. It's a place where people find information they could never get their hands on before, where doctors discover new and better ways to care for their patients. A place where everyone can make the connection between better information and better health. WebMD.
It's the hot thing in activewear. Benga's Ultra Strength Pain Relieving Patch. Now even stronger for deep heating relief. And it lasts up to 8 hours. Try the Ultra Strength Bengay Pain Relieving Patch. It's what's hot in pain relief.
I didn't go to AutoZone because I was too busy to change my antifreeze.
I didn't go to AutoZone because who needs a tune-up?
If you've been avoiding regular car maintenance, get to AutoZone. They have everything to help you keep your car safe and on the road. AutoZone. Get in the zone.
Pickup and SUV. Gasoline and E85 ethanol. Haul and tow. The all-new 2007 Chevy Avalanche, the most flexible vehicle out there.
Fox Saturday Baseball brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution. South side of Chicago, home of the defending world champion White Sox, ending an 88-year drought under their manager Ozzie Guillen. And his starting lineup today presented by Taco Bell. Scott Pasetnik leads off in left field. Tadahito Iguchi at second base, and big Jim Thome. What a pickup he has been, the designated hitter. Kanerko at first, Jermaine Dye in right, A.J. Pierzynski catching, a ladder third of Joe Crede, Juan Uribe, and Brian Anderson. And on the mound, young left-hander for the Cubs, one of 3 rookies that's been in their rotation pretty much the whole year, is Rich Hill.
Rich Hill, you see the numbers on him. They're not real impressive at this point, but he's got a very good upside.
Strike one to Pasetnik.
The scouting report's going to be no worries for Rich Hill. Don't worry about what's taking place, even if he's facing these world champions and others.
Pasetnik lets a fly ball into left field. An easy play for Matt Thornton. One away.
And one thing about Rich Hill this afternoon is he really needs to go ahead and establish his fastball first. He's got a very good curveball. That's going to be a put-away pitch for him if he establishes the fastball. If he doesn't, he's going to have some problems. And forget that 0-3 record in the earned run average. Fresh start today as if it's opening day for him.
Hill, 26 years old, from Milton, Massachusetts, pitched collegiately at the University of Michigan. Appeared in 10 games, 4 starts last year, still looking for his first big league win. He's fallen behind Iguchi at 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Iguchi, after spending nearly 10 years playing in Japan, a rookie last year, finished 5th in the voting for the American League Rookie of the Year. But what a sign he has been. Cedeno can't get to it. It's into center field. And Iguchi with a 1-out base hit for the White Sox.
This is one of those little things that may end up hurting the team. Cedeno is a good upcoming prospect for the Cubs, but a play that goes right under his mitt. There are so many shortstop right now that can make this grab. They're going to get the ball, and they're going to spin, and they're going to fire, and there's going to be 2 out instead. So Cedeno getting familiar with the different field and all these types of things might be a factor, but that is a play that's a base hit, of course, but could be made by other players.
The big pull shift put on defensively by the Cubs defense for the man who leads the American League in home run and RBIs, Jim Thome. He looks at a strike. 17 home runs, 41 batted in for the longtime Cleveland Indian. Moved from there to Philadelphia. Last year pretty much a washout year due to injury, but he is back in a big way.
Boy, Jim Thome really worked hard, Tom, during the offseason to be prepared for this year. And it's paid off so much for him. And what an addition. Being an Illinois guy, he comes in, home state, and he starts to get his full swing and health back. It's very impressive.
Big breaking ball that you brought up earlier there from Hill, a swing and a miss. Thome yesterday hit his 17th home run this season. His 47th career interleague home run, which is most in all of baseball. He got Greg Maddux the other way.
I'll tell you, Tom, Greg Maddux looked at Jim Thome as he rounded the bases as to say, how could you hit that changeup down and away?
That one thrown all the way to the backstop. And advancing on to second base is Iguchi.
Well, I feel that maybe Rich Hill is indeed making this opening day for himself and is going to try and be the intimidator rather than be intimidated. He gets the 1-2 count on Thome. This is setup up and away. Either he's extremely wild, let go of it a little early, or he wanted to make sure that Jim wasn't leaning across the plate.
We talked about hitting with runners in scoring position. And Thome, the #1 hitter in the American League in such situations, hitting nearly .470. Breaking ball stayed up and in. 3-2. Well, many wondered whether or not Thome could come back and be the player he once was. You see the numbers last year, only 59 games with Philadelphia. Very low batting average, was just never healthy. And we asked him, was he concerned about being ready for this year?
Well, you don't know. You know, I think one thing, you always believe, you always want to believe, because that's, you know, what we're always instilled to do, is to believe in yourself and do it. But until you actually go out and get it done, you know, there is that question. And you know, even as spring training got going on, I really wasn't swinging the bat very well, you know, and as spring training kept going and going, we got halfway through it, things started to kind of click in, and, you know, it's worked out good.
Great feature on the pregame show today here on Fox. Thome drawing the 1-out walk. 2 on, 1 out for Paul Konerko. A .320 batter, 9 home runs and 33 runs batted in. Konerko, the captain of the White Sox.
Yes, he has been, I guess, nominated for that role. The captain. He's accepted it, but it's a quiet captain, to say the least. Paulie will not go around saying things to players and yelling and screaming. He just leads by example.
These are the struggles Hill has had in his starts this season. Control in 15 1/3 innings. He had issued 10 walks. And now Larry Rothschild, the pitching coach under Dusty Baker, will come out and try and settle him down.
Well, it doesn't matter how good you are, Tom. If you're going to come up from the minor leagues as a highly touted prospect, and being a team where there's tons of pressure to succeed, such as the Cubs. Everybody knows, being a Cub at Wrigley Field and wearing that uniform, the fans expect a lot. You still have to deliver, and he has not yet reached that point to where he feels comfortable, it appears to me. How can a guy that in the minor leagues had 376 innings in and 524 strikeouts not be able to step right up here and continue with that success? Well, it's got to be all between the ears.
White Sox knocking on the door here in the bottom of the first inning of a scoreless game. Pickoff attempt. And leading it all the way, Iguchi. Two and 0 on Konerko, and he looks at a strike. Well, generally, scoring first, scoring frequently early on, is a recipe for success. And look no further than these numbers. The White Sox have outscored the opposition in the first 3 innings of games by nearly 50. The Cubs in the red by 32.
That is without a doubt very important.
This one hammered down the line and bending foul.
You know, The White Sox have the pitching that if you give them an early lead, it's really going to be difficult for an opponent to come back and walk away with a victory. But on the other hand, they also have the offense that if they do not jump out to an early lead, they're fully capable of moving along throughout the game and waiting to get into somebody's bullpen and taking advantage of the starters having a good game. So the White Sox are truly a well-rounded team, and the Cubs are trying to go ahead and get themselves righted, and it's just taking a little time.
Mentioned earlier, Kerry Wood just came back this week, albeit in a losing 2006 debut to the Nationals 2 days ago over at Wrigley Field. 2-2 on Konerko. And a bluff throw back to second base. Konerko has put up some monster numbers, but he is a bona fide double play candidate. In fact, has bounced into more double plays than any player in the major league since 1999. And the Cubs are hoping for another one right now.
Well, Paulie has definitely made some adjustments since then. He really has not been that same guy that's led the league in double plays. Last year, when he was in a double play situation, he made a very conscious effort to go back up the middle or into right field. He stopped beating the ball down into the ground at third base, which the pitchers were trying to entice. So he's not the same kind of hitter as he had been in the past in that sense.
Runners at first and second, one out. Iguchi goes, and it's blasted foul up the third base line. Konerko, a former #1 pick out of Chaparral High in Scottsdale, Arizona, by the Los Angeles Dodgers, who traded him for Jeff Shaw to Cincinnati. The Reds then sent Konerko here for Mike Cameron.
Well, as it's turned out for Paulie, he found a place where he can finally be just left alone to become the major leaguer he was expected to be. LA didn't work out. Cincinnati, it's one of those situations where they liked him, but they needed something else. It's been great for him to be here in Chicago.
Both runners go this time on the ground, knocked down, getting to the bag, and then throwing to first. It's in time to turn the double play. Very nicely done on both ends by Ramirez to stay with it, and a pick by Mabry on the other corner.
Well, it's been a long day for Strahan. What a lovely shot.
Hey, maybe it's your deodorant. Let's start over. No, this time start with new Right Guard Sport Deodorant. Now packed with even more scent. Right Guard. Start right and right.
Before my wipers streak or my belt start to squeak, I know I'm gonna catch it on time.
AutoZone has the people, parts, and advice it takes to stop trouble before it starts.
Nobody knows your car like you do. Nobody knows what it needs like we do. AutoZone.
They say your footprint is as unique as your fingerprint.
Just like me, unique.
That's why Dr. Scholl's created memory fit insoles with memory foam to form to the shape of your foot.
It forms right around your feet.
For customized comfort, see the doctor, Dr. Scholl's.
What's wrong?
Upset about eye allergies? There's a Visine for that. Visine A provides powerful relief of itchy red allergy eyes. Clinical studies prove it. Eye allergies? There's a Visine for that.
The pinnacle! Man's ultimate achieve! What's that? Ultimate chalupa! I thought it'd be cool, you know? Ultimate flavors, man's ultimate adventure! That does sound pretty cool! You know what? I only brought one! Next time!
Taco Bell's new Ultimate Chalupa has layer on layer of carne asada steak, guacamole, sour cream, and fiesta salsa, surrounded by a crispy, chewy chalupa shell for layers and layers of flavor.
How's that?
Think outside the bun.
I'm hoping that the noise gets in the hitter's mind and allows me to do what I do. Competing, I'm fearless, I'm aggressive, I'm intense.
Go-to pitch.
I take a lot of pride in what I do. And when I'm not pitching, I'm able to really enjoy the game. I believe that while you do your job, why not have fun? I live for this.
Catch Major League Baseball all season long on Fox. Don't miss it.
Fox Tuesday. This is one season finale that has it all.
Which one of you is House?
The season finale of House at 9/8 Central, Fox Tuesday. Viewer discretion advised.
Dusty Baker and the Chicago Cubs without their star Derek Lee in a scoreless game as we begin the second inning on the south side of Chicago. For Derek Lee, it'll be at least another month and a half. High fly ball into right field. Jermaine Dye drifting, and he's there in front of the track. Got Jones set down to begin the Chicago Cubs' second inning. Well, the Cubs playing in the National League Central Division, which has been thoroughly dominated by both the Cardinals and the Astros. Of course, the Cardinals in 2004 advancing onto the World Series. Then last year against these White Sox, it was Houston. They were the wild card in the National League. And the Cubs, despite being 7 games under 500, they're 9.5 back. But with the advent of a wild card, and there's really no second place team in the National League that is separating itself from the rest of the pack, they can kind of hang in there. Wood just came back, get Pryor back, maybe a contribution from Wade Miller, and get Derek Lee along the line. You can stay close enough, maybe you get back in it.
Well, one thing that we can look at when it comes to the Cubs is they definitely need all of those pieces of the puzzle to be successful. You can see that with the record that they have now.
Breaking ball away, 2-2 on Aramis Ramirez. I mean, you got to remember last year, the Astros, a year ago today, were on an 8-game losing streak. They were 15 games under 500.
Oh, and at this point, the Cleveland Indians were about 13 games behind the White Sox.
And it went down to the final weekend.
That's exactly right. So there, without a doubt, is plenty of time for quality teams to improve and go ahead and put a rush on in the second half of the season. But as my partner Ken Harrelson likes to always say, is you can definitely lose a championship in April and May.
Yep.
You have to keep your head above water, and the Cubs have done that.
Straight away center field, playable out there for the rookie Brian Anderson. And that is the second out of the inning. We take a peek ahead to next week on Fox Saturday Baseball. Many of you will see the Braves and the Cubs at 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central. Others will see the Cardinals and the San Diego Padres from Petco Park at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, 1 Pacific. Check local listings for the game and time in your area. Well, here on our Fox Saturday Game of the Week, you will see plenty of both of these teams throughout the 2006 summer. John Mabry getting to start again today at first base. A .212 batter with a home run and 3 runs batted in.
You know, Tom, there have been a lot of questions to me by the Chicago print media about once they lost Derek Lee, if they needed to go out and pick up a big stud first baseman. And in my opinion, if you do that, you're conceding that Derek Lee is not going to be available all year long. And if they feel Derek is going to be back at all, you can't do that. You just got to try and plug a gaping hole. And they're doing the best they can. They're putting anybody and everybody at first base that they can to try and fill in and do something. But it's still big shoes to fill.
Ground ball to the right side. Canerco committed, but Garcia gets to the bag. And Iguchi feeds a pitcher in a 1-2-3 second inning. White Sox come to bat in a scoreless game.
Something was missing.
It's all about tradition, Bob.
Our exclusive Beechwood aging produces a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability you'll find in no other beer.
I am man, hear me roar. In numbers too big to ignore. And I'm way too hungry to settle for chick food. Cause my stomach's starting to growl. And I'm going on the prowl for a Texas double whopper. Man, that's good. Oh, yes, I'm a guy. I'll admit I've been fed quiche. Whey tofu, bye-bye. Now it's for Whopper beef I reach. I will eat this meat till my innie turns into an outie. I am starved. I am incorrigible. And I need to scarf a big burger, beef, bacon, jalapeno, good thing down. Yeah!
Texas double whopper. Eat like a man, man.
The all-new 2007 Chevy Tahoe. With 320 horsepower and an EPA estimated 22 highway miles per gallon. Get there like never before. Tahoe, an American revolution.
Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by Budweiser. Bright, crisp, clean, pure. This is Budweiser. This is beer. Alongside Darren Jackson, Tom Brenneman, and our entire Fox crew. Week number 1 of our Saturday game of the week. And we're in the Windy City for the Cubs and the White Sox. No score as Jermaine Dye looks at strike 1 from Rich Hill to begin the bottom of the 2nd inning. Dye, last season's World Series most valuable player, and off to a monster start again this year. A .320 batter, 10 home runs, 32 runs batted in. In fact, the middle of this White Sox batting order, Thome, Konerko, Dye, the most lethal trio of any team in baseball so far. I think they're going to charge the pitcher with a ball in the count. It looked like Hill went to his mouth standing on the mound.
Yeah, but getting back to what you're pointing out, Tom, it's truly amazing to watch on a regular basis the heart of this lineup go to work. They pick on good pitchers too.
On the ground to Jerry Hairston Jr. On the way, we meet the Cubs defensively. Juan Pierre, a big offseason acquisition, plays in center field. They're hoping to get him started soon. Matt Thornton in left, and Jock Jones, another pickup during the offseason, in right. Ramirez, Cedeno, Hairston, Mabry third to first with a battery of Hill and Michael Barrett. Pulled foul by A.J. Pierzynski. A .336 batter with a home run and 11 runs batted in.
Now, Tom, you and I had the chance to talk earlier today about the fact that one thing about the Cubs is that they are not a team that can really afford to lose a big star or a big starting pitcher. And so far, you look out on the field, and they have some key acquisitions in Juan Pierre, which is one of the premier leadoff guys in the National League for previous years. And then you have Jock Jones, who's a solid ball player. Of course, he is not somebody that's going to carry you if you lose a Derek Lee. And Ramirez has been the guy that you have to really have step up and drive in big runs, and he's been unable to do it.
Breaking ball away. Dusty Baker very frank in our conversation with him earlier today about Ramirez. He said, you know, maybe he'll turn out to be a carrier, meaning he can carry a club without a guy like Lee around. But so far, that's not been the story in his very productive major league career, wherever he has played, especially since coming to Chicago, whether it was Sammy Sosa and then later last year Derek Lee. He's more of a complimentary guy. That one fouled out of play by Pierzynski. 2-2.
Well, that's such a great point. It's true. There are some players that are not built to be that lead guy in the spotlight. And if Ramirez is that kind of player, nobody should expect him to step up when that big guy is gone. He's just not going to do it. And if that's the case, get what you can from him. He's got to be consistent. And appears right now that's the one thing he hasn't been as consistent as he had been with the big guys in the lineup. So the Cubs definitely needing several guys to step up, not just Ramirez, and make it a team effort.
3-2 is ball 4 high to Pierzynski. So Hill, after getting ahead of A.J. at no balls and 2 strikes, lost him and walks his second batter early on. It's time for the Burger King. Have it your way. Home field advantage. And remember, fans, you can always have it your way at Burger King. But when you win a world championship, you expect a big turnaround at the gate. And boy, has that been the story here on the south side of Chicago. Averaging nearly 10,000 more fans per game this year. The season ticket holders went from almost 8,000 last year to nearly 23,000 this year. And boy, do they like playing in this ballpark. They've won 15 out of 20 so far.
Oh, no question. The White Sox have felt very comfortable here at home this season. And it has so much to do, I have a feeling, because of the bigger attendance. They are getting the adrenaline flowing of the players.
Breaking ball high to third baseman Joe Creedy. 2 balls and no strikes. First time since 1917. They crowned a baseball champion on the south side of Chicago. The Cubs know all about that and then some. They've not been champions since 1908. St. Clair came so close in 2003 in that memorable 7-game National League Championship Series loss to the Marlins.
Well, the city of Chicago is waiting for that 1906 World Championship matchup to come back, huh? Between the North and the South Siders. But right now, I'd say that the Cubs, they got to get it going.
A 4-pitch walk to Creedy. And Hill is in a bit of a bind again.
Well, here is a young pitcher that for some reason or another is just not taking to the big league level yet. Now, we can reflect back to Greg Maddux, who also once called up to the big leagues right out of AAA, struggled, was sent back down, dominated there, called back up, struggled, lost 14 games his first full year in the big leagues, and then he went on to win 15 or more for 15 straight years. So you can never, ever, to me, go ahead and put a label on a young, talented pitcher like this. You just got to let him grow at this level and see what happens.
Maddux a loser to Mark Burley in the opening game of this interleague series yesterday. 2-on for Juan Uribe. Both the Chicago shortstop and their center fielder Brian Anderson slow to get started this year, but they figure for both it will turn around.
One thing Juan Uribe has proven in the past is that he can, when he gets hot and he's very streaky, carry you just like any other big stud in your lineup. You know, one thing, Tom, is that when you have the whole lineup doing such a nice job and you have your shortstop and center fielder that are struggling offensively, all they have to focus on is catching the ball, and they're both doing that. So offense is not needed at this point.
9 straight balls out of the strike zone by Hill. Make it 10. A fastball is high.
Well, Rich Hill's going to have a little conversation with his pitching coach now, but he really is out of sorts right now. You can see him kind of short-legging it. He's not really driving, and everything is up high for him. And the pitching coach is going to tell him, hey, look, you need to go ahead and stretch it out. You need to hang out over that rubber a little bit more. Don't rush it. And just bring the ball to the catcher's mitt. If you ever worry about the guy that's standing in the batter's box when you're struggling throwing strikes, you've got problems, because you're not going to throw strikes. You need to block him out. He's not even there. Throw it to the mitt, and if they hit you, they hit you. You've seen it. You've been around baseball since you were in diapers, you know.
Well, just about. I'm still trying to get through the diaper stage. 2-0 the count. And that one's swung on and fouled back out of play. So Uribe, after 10 straight balls, 2-0 hacking against Hill.
You know, I've always been one of those people that has said, hey, look, a guy's really struggling, don't help him out, but at the same time, if you're struggling, it's the perfect time to look for a fastball right there.
Taken high, he checked his swing, they appeal, and no, says Paul Nauert, the first base umpire. Greg Gibson today behind the plate. Charlie Relaford, the crew chief at second base, and Larry Vanover is at third. 2-on, 1 out, no score, bottom of the second inning. Big pitch for Hill, 3-1 on Uribe, and it's ball 4. He's walked. The base is loaded.
Well, Rich Hill obviously not finishing his pitches off right now. He's just not reaching out and throwing the baseball. He appears to be cutting it off his release, and he just can't get the ball down. And Larry Rothschild has already been out there and talked to him. Barrett has been out there and talked to him, and he's just not getting it. At this point, it could just be nerves. He's 0-3, coming in with a .763 earned run average, and now he's put himself in a high-pressure situation. It just keeps getting worse.
Now the rookie center fielder, Brian Anderson, he looks at a strike. Anderson, 24 years old, born and raised in Tucson, Arizona, and that's where he played collegiately for the University of Arizona. #1 draft pick out of the U of A by the White Sox, where they have their spring training home. Breaking ball down and in, 1-1.
Well, with Rich Hill showing that curveball and missing with it, Brian Anderson pretty much with the bases loaded and 1 out can erase that pitch and sit on his fastball, and he struggled. He can foul it back, but it's a good one to look for.
Got a fastball and lifts a fly ball into short left field. Pierzynski wanting to know, am I going? He is going. Here comes a throw by Merton. It is a collision at the plate. And Pierzynski not only bangs into Barrett, bangs onto the plate, and here they go. Posednik getting into it with Barrett. And now both dugouts empty behind home plate. I mean, there is some hooking going on in the bottom of 2 piles. Trying to separate players on both sides. Pierzynski ran right through Barrett and then slammed his hand on home plate. And Barrett came after him. Posednik wound up more involved with Barrett than Pierzynski did.
Well, that's the kind of unit the White Sox have been. You go after one of them, you're going after all of them. And A.J. Pierzynski was going around Barrett trying to get to his helmet after the collision, and Barrett took exception to the actions of Pierzynski and gave him a right cross as he was holding him. And from there, A.J. had backup. Scott Posednik was right there behind him and came in and picked him up. This is the kind of thing that can help each team. The White Sox are already a unit that have proven they're there for each other, and the Cubs, this could really cement them together. You never know how a brawl like that pulls a unit together.
I saw Pierzynski igniting the crowd by waving his hands before going back into the dugout. Of course, he has always been a very controversial figure his entire career, going back to the Minnesota Twins, the Giants, and now the White Sox.
Well, without question, this is a good, clean play by Pierzynski. He has to go through the catcher. He's blocking the plate. He takes Barrett out and scores the run. And it's after that what takes place. Barrett took exception to Pierzynski getting up and trying to go through right there. And then he's just going to go ahead and hit him. And Posednik right there has his back. The thing that takes place after this, and obviously Barrett has got to be tossed out of this ball game. Posednik getting in there and trying to get a hold and do what he can. And from there, it just got ugly. Everybody was involved, Tom.
Well, there's so much going on, DJ, as you know, having lived in this town, played for both sides. There's so much going on right now in this rivalry between these two teams, especially with the White Sox having won the World Series last year. I mean, their fans want blood in this series. They want to rub it in the Cubs' faces, and the Cubs, you know, they want to beat the defending world champs.
Oh, without question. You know, you come to this ballpark, and on a day like this usually takes place up in the bleachers. But it is spilled out onto the field today as good, clean, hard baseball being played between these two teams. And Michael Barrett, simple as that, felt that maybe A.J. Pierzynski was rubbing it in his face when he got up and bumped into him after scoring this run.
Maybe you wonder about the slap on the plate, getting up. It looked like Pierzynski wasn't trying to run into Barrett, but he did run into Barrett. You don't know if he said anything or not, which may have precipitated Barrett's reaction, but one that will not only cost him the rest of today, it will also get in his wallet.
No question. And, you know, the thing that I don't like about what happens after these brawls start is it is every player's responsibility to get out there. I don't care what anybody says in Major League Baseball, to get out there and protect your players. You have to get their back. Now, somebody else may be tossed because of their participation in that brawl, but in my opinion, it has to take place. You can't just let those two stand out there and hook it. This is not the NBA where nobody can leave the bench. Everybody's going to leave the bench and partake in this action, and they'd better, because last man standing in the dugout's the last man that doesn't want to be seen in the locker room after. So it's one of those situations where I have a feeling the White Sox are truly going to benefit, and it's going to push them. I've seen it in the past. I'm around this team an awful lot, and they have definitely become a better unit, something to talk about in the locker rooms after these situations. And that's a good right cross by Barrett, but when you're holding the guy and having spun around, it's a perfect situation to let one go. And you see Brian Anderson actually.
I've got to believe Anderson will get thrown out of the game along with Barrett.
Yeah, he came in and made sure that he had somebody's back. Brian Anderson's a frustrated player. You had mentioned that offensively he hasn't really had a whole lot to do with helping the team this year, and last thing he wants to do is be left out in some action like that.
Well, the umpires are gathering, and now they're talking with Ozzie Guillen. Here you get a look at Anderson throwing a big right cross aimed at John Mabry. And then A.J. Pierzynski walking back to the dugout, saying, no glass chin here.
Well, right now it appears that home plate umpire Greg Gibson has thrown A.J. Pierzynski out of the game. And if that's the case, I never saw him throw a punch.
The only thing you wonder, it's like we talked about, the only thing you wonder is when Pierzynski then slapped the plate and he bumped into Barrett. Did he say anything to Barrett?
Correct.
But that does not negate the fact that Barrett threw the first punch. Barrett's got to be thrown out of this game, and now he is. I mean, he has to be thrown out of the game, and for Dusty to argue that would fall on deaf ears.
Oh, no question. Matter of fact, if you're Dusty Baker, all you can really come out and do is say, all right, well, if he goes, their guy has to go. He was involved in it. And that's generally what a manager wants to see. And even a wash in a situation like this. Their guys have to go, somebody that's important to their team. Barrett, he is really the heart of this offense that has struggled this year. And for you to lose your number 4 hitter and your backstop is not a plus, to say the least.
Well, Dusty Baker is talking with Charlie Rutherford on one side. On the other side, Larry Vanover along with Greg Gibson are talking with Ozzie Guillen, who in Ozzie animated fashion is making his point, whatever that might be. I'm sure one of his players has been thrown out, if not more than one, and he wants to know why.
Well, this has a long history in Major League Baseball of rivalries like this, getting into it. You got, of course, Veritek and Alex Rodriguez a couple of years back. And our producer, Jeff Gowans, even pointed out, go back to Fisk and Piniella.
Yep.
I mean, there's been some interesting, when these rivalries get together, things take place. And I'm telling you right now, Tom, this is something the Cubs really needed. It can help them so much in that locker room and bring them together as a unit and cement them as one. And, you know, it's yet to be seen, but I did see it take place right here in this ballpark when the Detroit Tigers and the White Sox were playing some years back, and a big brawl broke out, and after that the White Sox just took off and they became a winning team. I think it was 2000 that it took place, and they were a playoff team after that.
Well, we're still waiting for everybody to get an explanation as to who's in the game, who's not. Now they're talking with Mabry, and makes you wonder whether or not he has been thrown out of the game after getting locked up there. We showed you the scuffle that he wound up in with Brian Anderson. We do know that Barrett has been thrown out of the game because Blanco has already come on catcher's gear behind the plate.
Well, the thing that's going to really hurt the Cubs this afternoon and losing a couple of few players is that they do not have the same quality bench of the Chicago White Sox. They have guys that they can really go to and contribute and help them win. Once, twice a week they're out there in a starting role and doing a good job, and a Chris Widger behind the plate. Rob Makoviak's been out there, Alex Cintron, Pablo Ozuna. The whole bench for Ozzie Guillen has done something to help them win games. Now, unfortunately for Dusty Baker, he's very limited when it comes to that kind of quality off of his bench. His guys, the best, are generally on the field for him.
Well, now Neifi Perez has come on from the Cubs first base side dugout, playing catch with Ronnie Cedeno. It looks like there's going to be a number of changes for Dusty Baker's team. Mabry, you would assume, has been thrown out.
And it's so hard for these umpires with some melee like that going on. Very difficult for them to be able to see all the things that take place in a pileup like that. They're going to miss something, but Major League Baseball will come from behind and say, we saw the video. We know who was involved in it. We saw it. You're fined. You're fined. You're fined. They won't suspend guys that have not been tossed from games, but they definitely can come from behind and find some of the guys, the participants in that free-for-all.
Fly ball into left field. Throw coming in from Merton. The collision at the plate. Pierzynski into Barrett. They both get up, get tangled up. Right hook by Barrett. Melee on. That was Mabry involved in the fight there with Anderson. Mabry has been thrown out of the game.
And again, this is a clean hit. And Pierzynski, little instigation right there, slapping the plate, saying something to Barrett. Barrett, the cheap shot in over the shoulder. Pierzynski came in there. He actually tried to take a swing at, Posetnik also. Brian Anderson, who had just hit the fly ball, got there quickly and got involved. So I'm going to assume Mayberry was one of the fastest ones there. The umpire saw all the instigators in that situation. After that, very tough to see who was involved.
Well, the Cubs have already made a number of changes. Mayberry is out of the game, so he's been thrown out. Dusty Baker will move Jerry Hairston Jr. over to play first base. Now, Pierzynski, he slaps the plate, and then he gets up, and where's he going? I mean, the White Sox dugout's on the other side of the field.
Well, it appeared to me that I thought his helmet was behind Barrett, and it actually wasn't. His helmet was gone. He was a little woozy also, possibly, from that hit. And a little off balance bumping into Barrett. Who knows? All I know, if I would have been in the same situation as Barrett and he bumped into me after just hitting me, I might have taken the same exception as Michael Barrett did. And you said it right from the get-go. There's no telling what A.J. Pierzynski said right in his ear as they were face-to-face.
Well, you know, while we have a slight delay here, again, Dusty Baker going to come out and go over the lineup changes with the home plate umpire, Greg Gibson. You're around the White Sox, DJ, every day. A.J. Pierzynski, wherever he has been, the guys on his own team, some of them like him, some of them maybe not. If you play against A.J. Pierzynski, very few players like him. Even the White Sox didn't like Pierzynski when he played for Minnesota, but now he's one of your own. You're around him every day. What are your thoughts or impressions of A.J. Pierzynski?
Don't judge a book by his cover. That's for sure. A.J. is a person that when you talk to him one-on-one, you're around him in the locker room, he is yapping, but it's in a lighthearted sense. He's actually a great guy to have around. He has not been a distraction in the locker room for this team. The guys pick on him, have fun with him. He takes it better than anybody I've ever seen as he gives it. He's just a guy that likes to have fun and keep it loose. So with me being around and seeing this, A.J. really is not mean-spirited or a bad person, but he does know how to irritate his opponent, bug him, and really has no problem with them not liking him at all. If he's on your team, he may say something to you don't want to hear, but you've got to understand. You've got to look past what he's saying and know the man himself. He's clowning you. He's just trying to get a rise out of you. That's what A.J. does, and he does it very well. I don't think anybody on this team really has a problem with A.J. Pierzynski at all. But you said it, Tom. Opponents, that's a different story altogether.
Well, you hope that what has taken place on the field here does not spill over into the stands. I mean, this is an energy-charged rivalry as it is. And there's no sense in the fans starting to throw right hooks at one another just because something happened down on the field.
Well, that's a great point, Tom, because this has been a place where when this rivalry particularly gets together, on occasion, you might see that out in the bleachers.
All right, we're finally back at it. Posetnik is still in the game. That might have been a debatable topic during all this, although Posetnik appeared to be just protecting A.J. Pierzynski by going and corralling Michael Barrett. So Scotty is still in there. Runners on the corners, 1-0 White Sox. 2 away in the inning, and Hill going to work. That's a breaking ball. No real intent there by Hill. Could have been a fastball, that's one thing, not a breaking ball.
Well, right now, this crowd is just waiting for any other fireworks that they can see. And that breaking ball, most questionably, is not an effort to hit Posetnik. You got Pierzynski on the mind.
So do a lot of other people right now.
Yeah, that big curveball. Scotty's just going to duck under it, no problem.
2-1 to Posetnik. Breaking ball off the outside corner. First batter in this White Sox second inning, Jermaine Dye grounded out. But then 3 consecutive walks issued by Hill, leading to the sac fly RBI and the fight. 3-1 to Posetnik. Ball 4. 4th walk of the inning and 5th in the game for Hill. And now Dusty Baker is going to get his bullpen started. Knowing the Cubs and their offensive struggles so far this year, they can ill afford to fall behind by even 2 runs the way things have gone, especially since Derek Lee went down.
You're so right, Tom. It's not an offense that's going to be real explosive, these Cubs, and they definitely don't want to have to get in a big knock them down, drag them out baseball game.
Tadahito Iguchi singled into center field his first time up. He looked at strike one with the bases loaded.
I guess one thing we can really focus on is that Rich Hill has been in a huge jam in this inning, and he's only allowed the 1 run. One thing about the White Sox on the year, they are not real greedy in that sense. They get an RBI situation, they'll take any little base hit they can get.
Breaking ball floats high. We talked about the Cubs hitting in the low 230s with runners in scoring position. The White Sox are flirting with 300 at 299.
Because of what we were just talking about, Tom, the fact that they don't get real greedy. They'll take a base hit up the middle rather than swinging for the fences.
Grounded. Foul up the third base line. 2-2 on Iguchi.
Of course, this is a very powerful offense the White Sox possess with their 59 home runs. But again, it's a nice balance. They know when to swing for the fences and when not to. And the Cubs, unfortunately, only come in with their 27 home runs because of that huge loss of Derek Lee.
2-2 pitch. High fly ball into left field, hit pretty well. Merton back at the wall. Goodbye. Plenty on the south side of Chicago. A 5-run inning.
Well, Tom, that's going to leave a mark. Rich Hill so close to getting out of trouble. 1 pitch, 4 runs. After a chopper foul, Iguchi gets a fat one on the inner part that was supposed to be away.
Oh, and 2 to Tommy.
Iguchi, this part of that offense that steps up and helps out like anybody throughout the lineup.
And there's strike 3 called to Tommy to end the inning. But what a wild bottom of the second inning. They stand and cheer the defending world champions. A fight and a grand slam. And they're loving it on the south side.
Now is the time to get your family in a Grand Caravan during the Dodge Minivan event. Drive our most trusted minivan with features like best-in-class cargo capacity, park assist backup sensors, and the revolutionary Stow and Go. Features Toyota and Honda minivans just don't have. Plus, get a DVD system at no extra charge on special editions. So what are you waiting for? Get the best deal, the best value, all in the best minivan. Now get 0% APR financing for 60 months or $4,000 cash allowance on Grand Caravan. But hurry before the Dodge Minivan event ends.
This is the story of the man who had a gambling problem, who stole from his work, who went to prison. This is the man who hit rock bottom. This is the man who called 1-800-BETS-OFF, who was put in touch with treatment programs, who got his life back.
我知道我是你 boy 噶。哦呀，没个 boy 噶。我非常 fluffy 只在看嘅。This boy 噶，你see that right there, you know what I'm saying? Papas, all day onion, cheese, huh? Be top with me, you know what I mean?
The Philly Cheesesteak Thick Burger. New at Hardee's.
Save, win, and go on AirTran Airways. Save on low fares to 50 destinations. Win a Grand Bahama vacation, laptop, iPod, and more. Go to win.qcairport.com and register today. Save, win, and go with AirTran Airways in the Quad City Airport at win.qcairport.com.
The first 1,000 fans through the gates at the May 27th Swing Colonels game score a free swing cap just like this one. Sponsored in part by Fox 18. Coming up on the King of Queens.
How dare you!
How dare you!
All right, let's just get the fight going.
Monday at 6 on Fox 18. Uncle Gustar. He wants you to deliver his eulogy.
Even dead people love Raymond.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Monday at 6:30 on Fox 18.
It's the show that redefined comedy.
Significant shrinkage.
It shrinks?
And TV Guide defines Seinfeld as the #1 greatest show of all time. Seinfeld.
Weeknights at 10:05 on Fox 18.
All righty. Hope you had time to catch your breath after that bottom of the second inning. We open the third. We know A.J. Pierzynski's been thrown out. Chris Widger is taking over for him behind the plate. There's a tapper by Matt Thornton to short, and Uribe throws him out. As we suspected, Brian Anderson has been thrown out of the game as well after getting locked up with John Mabry. And Rob Makoviak, who came over from the Pirates, takes over in center field.
Tom, there's your toss-outs. Tom, you ever been tossed out of a game, huh?
A lot of people at home would like to see me tossed out of some games.
Whatever.
How about you?
Me? No, me?
Come on now.
I'm not that kind of guy.
Well, maybe not now.
I would sneak them in. The umpires couldn't see me.
1-0 the count. And a high pop-up off the bat of Jerry Hairston Jr. And the shortstop out to get it in fair territory, and just like that, 2 up and 2 down for Freddy Garcia. Now, you mentioned earlier Garcia coming in after really getting knocked around his first start of the season by the Cleveland Indians, lasting 4 innings, allowing 7 runs. But since then, he has ripped off 6 straight wins. And he's the last guy in the world the Cubs want to see. His 4th career start today against him. A 2-0 record with a 0.64 ERA.
Yeah, I think that Freddie has pretty much established he has no problem with this particular club. And it just sometimes you feel good against a certain color uniform. That's all. It's the uniform.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's not the players, because the players keep changing. So it really doesn't make much sense why you own one particular team compared to others. But in the sense of Freddy Garcia, I think it has to do a lot with day baseball, since that has been his true forte of ownership.
Breaking ball too low. Freddy Garcia, only 29 years old. It seems like he's been around forever. Of course, he came up through the Astros organization, was involved in the Randy Johnson deal going to Seattle. And now a member of this sensational White Sox starting rotation. He sets him down in order in the third.
New improved Roundup. Now so effective, it even beats the weather. Roundup still kills the root, but now it works so fast, nothing can stop it, not even the rain. So weeds go down and stay down, guaranteed. New improved Roundup. The best gets even better.
Well, it's been a long day for Strahan. What a lovely shot.
Hey, maybe it's your deodorant. Let's start over. No, this time start with new Right Guard Sport Deodorant, now packed with even more scent. Right Guard, start right and right.
This is Duralast, the battery built to exceed the need. Engineered with all the cranking power you need for extreme conditions. Get the battery built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
For years, I ate fried food and burgers that looked like this. And I looked like this. Then I found Subway restaurants. And I realized I could enjoy lots of great tasting food without lots of fat. Like the new fresh toasted Tuscan chicken sandwich. All white meat chicken, grilled veggies, melted cheese, and Tuscan vinaigrette. All fresh out of the oven and all with 8 grams of fat. 8 grams. And with the help of the Tuscan chicken sandwich, I'm keeping it off. Subway, eat fresh.
Red Eye's making a bad impression. There's a Visine for that.
What's wrong?
Upset about eye allergies. There's a Visine for that.
Beautiful. Move it, shake it, baby. Camera,
Eyes dried out. There's a Visine for that. For over 40 years, Visine has been the eye expert. So no matter what your eye irritation, red, itch, dry, or even contacts, there's a Visine for that.
This month, Dennis Leary returns
Cool, I'm in.
Rescue Me, an all-new season this month, only on FX. X-Men, The Last Stand, in theaters Friday.
Bottom of the third inning, sellout crowd on a gorgeous spring Saturday in the Windy City. And a 5-0 White Sox lead as they bat against Rich Hill in the last of the third. Heart of the order. Konerko, Dye. And then, of course, the change with Chris Widger for the ejected A.J. Pierzynski. That one in foul ground, comes back towards the infield. And staying with it, Hairston. One away. Here is today's trivia question, brought to you by Capital One. It's a good one. Who are the only two players to hit 25 or more home runs for both the Cubs and the White Sox? And that's in their careers. Told you Nafi Perez took over at second base after all the craziness in the bottom of the second. 4 players ejected. John Mabry, Michael Barrett, Brian Anderson, A.J. Pierzynski.
I got to say, Tom, the manager of the Cubs, Baker, has done a pretty good thing here, bringing Rich Hill back out to try and have a good inning. He needs a positive thought. If he just yanks him after that terrible second inning, you know, he has nothing but negativity working in his mind and thinks that the organization, the manager, everybody's down on him. So you send him back out there, hope he has a good third inning, and you keep him out there as long as he can go after that.
Well, there have been so many stories here of late about, Dusty Baker. Will he remain as Cub manager? He's in the final year of his contract, a 4-year deal that he originally signed after leaving the San Francisco Giants. Look at the numbers on Hill. Already his 61st pitch of the game, and it's strike 3 called to Jermaine Dye. 2 away here in the third inning. And the talk shows are going to light up and everybody all over Dusty Baker's case right now. But I would challenge any team in baseball, and Lord knows Dusty doesn't need me sticking up for him or anybody else. I mean, he's won over 1,400 games as a manager in his major league career. That one hit down the left field line and bending foul and out of play. But I mean, you pick a team, and Cub fans, maybe the team they're most familiar with, let's say the Cardinals. If you were to take away Chris Carpenter, if you were to take away Mark Mulder and take away Albert Pujols, where would the Cardinals be today? 7 games under? They'd probably be pretty happy in St. Louis without, and not be screaming for Tony La Russa's head.
I don't think a better example could be given. I mean, that's as perfect as it gets. And the difference is the cities. St. Louis, Chicago.
You're right.
There's the difference.
You're right. Great point. Touche indeed. St. Louis, they've been winning a lot of games for a long time. On the north side of Chicago, that has not been the story. High fly ball into left field. So Rich Hill does have a positive inning here in the third. He sets him down in order. We move to the fourth. 5-0 White Sox.
As you can see on my chart here, sales have exceeded...
What is that? Small business owner. They come in looking for loans. But we only care about big business.
Quarter. Our cash... Whoa. Our cash...
They normally catch on fire like that? Yeah, let's get some lunch.
Does your bank think small about your small business? Call Capital One instead for no-hassle business loans, lines of credit, and credit cards.
Hello, Capital One?
What's in your wallet? Oh, I want a loan. I want a loan.
Ortho Weed Be Gone Max. Sprayed here. Ordinary weed killer here. Weed Be Gone's weed-targeting formula killed the weeds, but not the grass. The ordinary weed killer killed both. Ortho Weed Be Gone Max kills weeds, not lawns.
Well, it's been a long day for Strahan. What a lovely shot!
Hey, maybe it's your deodorant. Let's start over. No, this time start with new Right Guard Sport Deodorant, now packed with even more scent. Right Guard, start right, end right.
Coming to a dinner table near you. It's hot, it's steamy, and the critics love it. The new Tuscan chicken sandwich, hot and fresh from the oven. Don't miss it. Subway, eat fresh.
Here's to men, to guys who want to take longer drives with fewer pit stops. And here's to Flomax. It's approved to treat male urinary symptoms due to BPH, also called an enlarged prostate. In 1 week, Flomax may help symptoms like going often, going urgently, weak stream, frequently waking up at night to go. Ask your doctor if symptoms are from BPH, not prostate cancer. Common side effects of Flomax are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen. Upon standing, a sudden decrease in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting. So when starting Flomax, avoid situations where injury could result. To learn more, call 866-4-FLOMAX. Ask your doctor. Flomax could make a difference in 1 week.
Fox Saturday Baseball brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? By Flomax. And by new Gillette Fusion, the best shave ever in manual and battery power. Get a look at Grant Park, just south of downtown Chicago. That's over in your hood, Mr. Jackson.
Oh, yeah, you better believe it. Proud to say it.
Take a dip in the fountain there every now and again, do you, in the summertime?
No.
Maybe the Taste of Chicago, something like that?
I'll look at it all.
All right. Breaking ball away to Ronnie Cedeno as we begin the 4th inning. 5-0 White Sox. 5 runs, only 2 hits for the White Sox. No runs and 2 hits for the Cubs. Cedeno has 1 of them. They appeal, and he did not go around. 2-1. In fact, both hits allowed by Garcia came to Cedeno and Walker back-to-back in that opening inning. Fly ball, short right field. Dye is there, 1 gone. And once again, our trivia question today brought to you by Capital One, who are the only 2 players to hit 25 or more home runs for both the Cubs and the White Sox. And coincidentally, they were traded for one another. Sammy Sosa and George Bell.
And a little flashback. George Bell, he was pretty good.
He was good. He could hit.
Sosa, I guess he wasn't bad either.
No. Sammy hit 28 for the Sox before coming over to the Cubs, where he hit 545 of them. George Bell hit 38 his first year as a member of the White Sox after leaving the Cubs.
That's truly amazing to think about that. Both outfielders at that point, Sammy with all the upside of being the young superstar, George Bell coming over here and basically becoming a DH, helping the Sox, helped both teams at that time.
It's really a shame how the whole Sosa saga came to an end in the Cubs organization, with having walked out on his team the last day, and much was publicized about all that. And even though he did not have the kind of final season with the Cubs that, of course, he had hoped and their fans would hope, it's really too bad when you have a guy who means so much to an organization for so long, and then it ends ugly.
Well, that is so true, and a very similar situation for the White Sox all-time slugger Frank Thomas. Yep. And it's a sad state of affairs if that's the case. I think that players, once they exit a place that they had so much success, it's in their best interest to walk away shaking hands with everybody that was involved and never burn that bridge. I truly believe that, and I really can't stand to see when it goes the other direction.
3-2 to Todd Walker, and Garcia kicks and delivers. And it's popped up. Short left field. Posednik for the 2nd out. Yeah, in fact, for the White Sox, and cutting ties with Frank Thomas, it really finally came to a head. It appeared in spring training this year, when Thomas, now with the Oakland Athletics, had a few things to say about the owner of the team, Jerry Reinsdorf, and some of the treatment that Frank felt should not have been after leaving. And then Kenny Williams, the general manager of the White Sox, I mean, he let Thomas have it. And I guess, DJ, they finally were able to put this thing to bed, or is it still kind of lingering around? Well, I mean, sometimes, you don't always believe what you read.
Right. Now, the truth be told is, Frank and I are friends and have been since '94 when I came to the White Sox as a player. Frank should never have made comments like that. I think they were unfounded. He shouldn't have said it, and he should have moved on and been happy. He was treated almost like royalty here by this organization, and with respect. And I think what happens in times like that, where you don't want to leave somewhere, you're just emotional and you're hurt, and you say things. And Frank Thomas, unfortunately, has said a lot of things in his career at the spur of the moment. He didn't think about it, and it's cost him sometimes in his reputation.
Leify Perez now batting in the number 4 hole after replacing Michael Barrett, who was thrown out. It's only the 4th time in Leify's career Plate appearance, 4th ever that he's batted in the cleanup spot.
Hey, you know, how can you not put this guy in the number 4 spot? What, are you kidding me?
2-2. There you get a look at the chairman, Jerry Reinsdorf. As owner of both the White Sox and the Chicago Bulls, had the marvelous run through the Michael Jordan era with the basketball team, but finally winning a title with the White Sox.
All of his dreams coming true. He is a true baseball fan. Grew up in Brooklyn, a Dodgers fan. Loves the game of baseball. Simple as that. And he was extremely pleased to finally, after all these years, come across with this World Series victory.
Bouncing ball to the right side. Boy, Freddy Garcia just picking him up and laying him down. 10 in a row set down by the White Sox right-hander.
Hey, Rod, if you're interested, there's a future for you in the beverage distribution industry.
Hi. Is it credit or debit? Debit. Is that the card that puts money in your savings?
Introducing Keep the Change. Each time you make a purchase with your Bank of America Visa check card, we round up the amount to the next dollar.
So if this costs $3.24, your savings gets 76 cents.
And transfer your change from your checking to your savings account.
And if it were $3.52, you'd get 48, 13, 87.
We're making it easier to save for something important, like a really good education. Keep the change, only at Bank of America. Higher standards.
Introducing the miracle of fusion, a revolutionary technology and a unique idea come together to create new Gillette Fusion. Until now, pressure caused irritation. Fusion has 5 blades spaced closer together to reduce pressure with less irritation and more comfort. Flip Fusion over, a precision trimmer for those tricky places. The comfort of 5 blades, the precision of 1. The best shave ever in manual or battery power. New Gillette Fusion.
This father-son moment brought to you by New Gillette Fusion, proud sponsor of Major League Baseball. Baseball defines Brett and Aaron Boone. With all-stars in their grandfather Ray and father Bob, the Boones epitomize the game at the highest level. Simply put, baseball is their family heirloom. This Father's Day, join Gillette and MLB in the fight against prostate cancer. Log on for a chance to win a trip to the 2006 MLB All-Star Game, July 11th, live on Fox.
Fox Saturday Baseball is brought to you by Chevy, baseball's #1 fan. Chevy, an American revolution. Sold out U.S. Cellular Field in Chicago, and the White Sox with a 5-0 lead. Joe Creedy, an excuse me roller to the second baseman Perez. 1 pitch and 1 out. And we've seen the rivalry on display here today. We talked to Dusty Baker about it before last night's game.
You know, I was in LA with the Angels. I was in San Francisco with Oakland. But, you know, those two don't match with this one. I mean, this one goes back centuries, at least decades. They're family rivals. I talk to people. Mom likes the Sox. Dad likes the Cubs. And there's always a struggle on which one of your kids are going to like which team.
Is it possible to have gone to a new level, however, here today as Uribe dumps it foul and out of play?
You know what, Tom, you and I have sat up here prior to the game and during this game, and the energy was there long before we had the brawl.
Yeah.
It is, I don't think it is enhanced at all. I think the entertainment level was just brought up. That's all.
Well, the Chicago fan, whether it be a White Sox fan or a Cub fan, a Bulls fan, when they were rolling, boy, if you've got a good team, there's no more enthusiastic crowd in the country. Pumped up into short right field. And while we have a moment, let's send it back to Los Angeles and welcome Jeannie Zelasco. Hi, Jeannie.
Hello. Subway Series, Yankees, Mets. Johnny Damon pondering after last night's opener at Shea. Maybe I'm not playing deep enough. David Wright says, no, you know, that's about far enough. Good enough for an RBI double. And no defense for Carlos Delgado. This one's very deep. Look at the work here in the bottom of the fourth. Solo shot, 14th of the season. 3-zip Mets.
Well, that's a great robbery as well. But that New York Mets team, wow, what a lineup they have. They're finally getting everybody except for Floyd going, and you know Cliff Floyd will get it going. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Hill, who since the home run has now retired 7 in a row. 5-0 game.
Pickup and SUV. Gasoline and E85 ethanol. Haul and tow. The all-new 2007 Chevy Avalanche, the most flexible vehicle out there.
Here's all you need to know to get a thick green lawn without all those dandelions. Nothing, and I mean nothing, works better than Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2. What's the secret? It's got a special formula with patented small particles. They stick to the leaf, they kill to the root, killing dandelions completely, guaranteed. And Turf Builder Plus 2 greens and thickens for the best kind of lawn there is. A Scott's lawn. Nothing beats Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2.
You can't sell yourself for $1, Junior.
Why not?
Because as long as you live in my house, you'll live by my rules. You got it?
I wish I'd never been broiled.
Whopper Junior for $1. Bringing some attitude to the new BK value menu.
This is Duralast, the battery built to exceed the need. Engineered with all the cranking power you need for extreme conditions. Get the battery built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
Another day, another billion in big business loans.
Yeah, sir, there's something on your shoe.
Good morning. If I could just have a minute of your time.
Small business owner. Come here. Give me a pencil.
Oh, what's he want? A loan or something?
Hey, oh!
Look, he's got a business plan.
Does your bank think small about your small business? Call Capital One instead for no-hassle business loans, lines of credit, and credit cards.
Hello, Capital One.
What's in your wallet?
Fox tomorrow, Animation Domination returns with a vengeance. With a special 90 minutes of The Simpsons, featuring Mandy Moore in the season finale.
Cancel all my appointments.
The Simpsons, a special 90 minutes, starts at 7/6 Central tomorrow on Fox.
Top of the 5th inning, the Cubs and the White Sox on the south side of Chicago. And the defending world champions with a 5-0 lead. Jock Jones, first pitch swinging down a strike against Freddy Garcia, who's retired 10 in a row since he got a double play ball off the bat of Michael Barrett with 2 on and 1 out in the opening inning. You know, with all the talk about Dusty Baker, you know, whether or not he should or should not remain on as the Cubs manager. You know, unfortunately for the Cubs, that's been their history, is to just fire the manager rather than taking a look at some of the players they bring in here and how they produce or don't produce. I think the baseball world was stunned, and it's not picking on Jock Jones, but the Jones was given a 3-year contract coming off one of the worst seasons in his career. The Cubs signed Glendon Rush and Nafi Perez to 2-year contracts, and the point of all this being, when you commit yourself to that many long-term contracts for marginal or, you know, average players, you really make it hard for them to go out and make a deal should something happen like Derek Lee.
Well, that's a great point, Tom, and you're right. There is somebody that always has to be the fall guy. If your team's not hitting, it's the hitting coach. If the overall experience with that club is a struggle, the manager. Pitching, somebody's going to have to fall. And the funny thing is, it doesn't generally happen with the general manager. He's the one that's making the moves. So I think it truly should start up top with the general manager and go from there.
Strike 3 called on the inside corner to Jock Jones. We caught up with Ozzie Guillen in between innings, and we begin with his impressions of the fight a moment ago.
Well, I think it's amazing. I think the people got a little excited. You know, it was a little bit out of hand, but I think that fight got to bring up together and more tougher and you know, pull for each other a little bit more now.
Ozzie, do you feel that that's one of the things also that can cement a team like the Cubs. You know, you're down there on the field level. Dusty Baker needs anything and everything to get his team to work together as a unit. Do you see that helping them on the other side of it?
They might. You know, when you do something like that, that means you stick up for each other and that you fight for your teammates. It's no doubt in my mind they got to get stronger and they got to put for each other better. And they might do what they need to start playing better.
Ozzie, for the first month and a half of this season, do you like your team better than the one that won it all last year?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say that because when you win it all, you know, I got players play for me real well. But in the meanwhile, I think we have better lineup and our pitching staff a lot better right now.
Thanks for the time.
All right, guys.
Meanwhile, the string of 11 in a row set down by Garcia comes to an end on a single and then an error charged to the right fielder Jermaine Dye, allowing Aramis Ramirez to reach second base. He is something, Ozzie Guillen.
Yes, he is a breath of fresh air, if you ask me, in the game of baseball. He is unique. There's really nobody else that's come along like him.
Henry Blanco bats for the first time since taking over 4. Michael Barrett behind a plate. He bats in a 7-hole where John Mabry was in the lineup. Breaking ball swung on and missed. 0-2 on Blanco, who has 2 hits so far this season. Very low batting average. Has always been a very good catch and throw guy.
That's it. He is the kind of guy that pitchers like to throw to. He knows how to call a game, and whatever offense he can offer is a bonus to his team. But you mentioned just the last inning, the Freddy Garcia pretty much has had it on cruise control since the first inning. And he's that kind of guy. If he gets in a good rhythm, and he has improved from start to start, even though he's 6-1, he has a 4, 5, 6 earned run average coming into this, which means something went wrong along the way to be 6-1. It was his start. He gave up some runs, but still was winning games. And it has been from start to start to start as the season has progressed that he has gotten better and better. He's not the flamethrower of the past, throwing in the mid-90s. He's now in the high 80s, 90s occasionally. As you see, he's been very efficient each inning with his pitches. He's just gotten better as the years progressed.
Shattered back. Roller back to Garcia. Blanco will walk back with a sliver left in his hand. 2 away in the inning. We mentioned the numbers for Garcia against the Cubs. Today being his 4th start. And that ERA is coming down even more. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio. That's how you win games.
Well, I think Freddie has proven that he's a top kind of pitcher. 1, 2, 3 top end of a rotation. 105 career wins to 63 losses. I mean, the top all-born Venezuelan pitcher over Wilson Alvarez, my old teammate. And Freddie is no question. He is a dominating pitcher and has a real good chance in his career, as long as he stays healthy, to go ahead and approach that 200 win category.
0-1 to Matt Merton. Breaking ball down and away. Merton bounced to the shortstop, his only time up. Well, it's a real nice fit for Garcia here. Maybe not pitching with the same kind of pressure when you're the #1 guy as he was in Seattle. I mean, they have 3 or 4 #1 guys here on this White Sox starting rotation. Between Garcia, Burley, Contreras, who will return tomorrow off the disabled list. You were talking earlier that really since about the midway point of last year through the first month of this year, and the numbers don't lie, Contreras has been the best pitcher in the American League.
Oh yeah, we got an opportunity to talk that off, Mike, and the fact is it's not even the numbers that I'm looking at. I'm looking at his domination. Hitters have really not even had much of a chance.
Big breaking ball swung on and fouled away, and then they make the deal during the offseason to acquire Javier Vazquez from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And if a guy like Vazquez is your #5 starter, there are some that have said, and I think your partner Hawk Harrelson included, that since the day of the 5-man rotation, it might be the best 5-man rotation in baseball history.
I felt from the start of this year, and it's proving to be possibly true, that this could be an organization, a team that wins 15 with each of its starters.
The strike 3 called on the outside corner, a breaking ball, and Merton didn't like the call. 1 hit, an error, 1 left. All Garcia and the Sox thus far.
It's a fact.
The more we learn about how to take care of ourselves and our families, the longer and healthier our lives become. That's why more people turn to WebMD than any other health information source. It's a place where people find answers to health questions with an ease never before possible, where doctors discover new and better ways to care for their patients. A place where everyone can finally forge a link between better information and better health. WebMD.
From coast to coast, cops are cracking down on safety belt violations. It doesn't matter who you are or where you live. They'll be on the lookout. Cops write tickets to save lives. If you don't buckle up, expect a ticket. Click it or ticket.
Hey, Rod, if you're interested, there's a future for you in the beverage distribution industry.
Fox Monday.
These terrorists are in control of 12 multiple warhead missiles.
You won't be prepared for what happens next.
60 seconds until they launch.
And we promise you won't be disappointed.
Right here, right now, you are going to face justice.
24, the 2-hour season finale at 8, 7 Central, Fox Monday. Viewer discretion advised. Chipper and the Braves battle the Cubs. Fox Saturday Baseball next week.
Fox Saturday Baseball sponsored by WebMD. Better information, better health. By Pepsi, it's the Cola. And by the auto parts experts at AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Now the White Sox are in the zone. Coming off a World Series title, their first in 88 years. And they share the best record in all of baseball through the first month and a half of this season with a team in their own division. The upstart Detroit Tigers under manager Jim Leyland.
How about them Tigers? Huh?
How about it?
Jim Leyland stepped forward at the start of this year and said, I'm not having any of that. I mean, they went into a funk when the White Sox went to Detroit and just put a whooping on them after they had been so hot. Jim Leyland stepped back and said, it's not going to start right here and right now. Get back to it. And they really responded well.
Pacific, and there's a base hit into center field by the speedy Chicago leadoff man. 16 stolen bases in 21 attempts. What a turnaround for Posednik after a very slow start. But in that American League Central Division, many thought it would be the White Sox and the Indians duking it out, and that may end up being the case. Detroit beginning to play better baseball, getting back to 500. But so far, the Sox and the Tigers.
You know what? It is very surprising, to say the least, that Jim Leyland could come in there pretty much with the same talent that was already available to the Tigers and completely turn that organization around. All it can really do is say that Jim Leyland is one heck of a manager.
No doubt about that. For those of us that saw him and fortunate to see him and be around him in the National League for so many years, it is no surprise that he's turned him around. I don't know about sharing the best record in baseball, but turned him around. Tadahito Iguchi, 2 for 2, and one of them the biggest blow in this game. A sac fly brought in the first run by Anderson in that 5-run second inning, which ignited the fight. And then after a walk, Iguchi stepped up there with the bases loaded. See you later.
That was right in the wheelhouse. Simple as that. Iguchi, who generally will hit his home runs to right field, pitches out over the plate. He obviously was looking for something in and reacted very well.
This guy's a good player, isn't he, DJ?
He is.
Really good player.
I mean, he's the kind of guy that the White Sox had no idea could come in and make the impact that he has in this number 2 spot. Does his job at second base. He runs the bases well. but as a number 2 hitter, he's been irreplaceable. And there is certain responsibilities, in my opinion, for the first, second, third, fourth, fifth hitters in the lineup. When you get to 6 and 7, it's pretty much just hit, drive in runs if you can. But there are really certain responsibilities in those top roles.
There goes Pierzynski, and there's a fly ball in the left center field. Going back, Pierre at the wall. Iguchi is homing again. Iguchi, his 8th third hit game of this season, which leads the American League. And he's had some thunder in those hits today.
Well, I think that brawl got Iguchi going. Who'd have thunk it? Tadahito Iguchi has responded with a couple of home runs. He came into this game with just the 4, but he got his juices flowing this afternoon against the Cubs.
Well, in that number 2 hole, Iguchi now with 6 home runs, 23 runs batted in, and has now scored 36 runs from the number 2 spot. That is most in Major League Baseball.
The offense for the Sox is just much improved over last year. I mean, when you have 3 men already in your lineup at this point of the year that are over 30 runs batted in, plus 1 more with 29 in Joe Creedy, and then Iguchi with a big day like this. I mean, the offense is full tilt at this point.
That one blasted into right center field, a base hit by Jim Thome, and that's going to be it for Rich Hill. Well, after the grand slam by Iguchi, Hill retired 7 in a row until this 5th inning. A single by Pierzynski, another homer by Iguchi, a base hit later, and Hill is gone.
Some race, huh?
Oh, yeah. You should have seen it. He got just a little bit loose coming off of turn 2. And going down the backstretch, I got right up on his spoiler, and we started off into turn 3. He got loose and just lost it. It's okay. Don't worry. He walked away.
Subway Restaurants. Proud sponsor of Greg Biffle and the number 16 Ford car.
Before my wipers streak or my belt start to squeak, I know I'm gonna catch it on time.
AutoZone has the people, parts, and advice it takes to stop trouble before it starts.
Nobody knows your car like you do. Nobody knows what it needs like we do. AutoZone.
Whoa! That's one monster case of athlete's foot. Blitz that with Tough Actin Tinactin. It cools, cures, hey, it even prevents most athlete's foot. Lamisol AT can't say that. Get boom! Tough Actin Tinactin.
Better health. Sometimes it's in the genes, but as often as not, it's connected to the quality of the information you have at hand. And that's what makes WebMD America's most trusted health information source. It's a place where people find information they could never get their hands on before, where doctors discover new and better ways to care for their patients. A place where everyone can make the connection between better information and better health. WebMD.
As you can see on my chart here, sales have exceeded...
What is that? Small business owner. They come in looking for loans.
But we only care about big business.
Quarter. Our cash... Whoa. Our cash...
They normally catch on fire like that? Yeah, let's get some lunch.
Does your bank think small about your small business? Call Capital One instead for no-hassle business loans, lines of credit, and credit cards.
Hello, Capital One?
What's in your wallet? Oh, I want a loan. I want a loan.
Time now for the AutoZone Strike Zone. You get a look at the starters today. A short day again for Rich Hill. Touched for 7 runs, walked 5 batters. And you see the low percentage of strikes. Meanwhile, for Garcia, the beat goes on. Right, throwing young right-hander Roberto Novoa now takes over on the mound for the Cubs, trailing 7-0 here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 runs in. See the numbers on Novoa.
appearing in his 12th game. A quiet day, a rare quiet day for Konerko. He's bounced into a double play and fouled out to first.
Just with that statement, you may have woken him up. He put a swing on it.
He'll do that.
Oh, yeah, and he put it on a 2-0 count. Now, Paulie doesn't like to be left behind when the offense is clicking. He's not one of those stars that everybody has a hit in the lineup, and he's usually left behind. He's usually right in the fray, but it is early in this game.
Hardy there on the fastball and fouls it out of play. 2-2 on Konerko.
Now, Tom, looking at Rich Hill, and you were talking about that strike percentage down for him today, below 50%, which is, of course, usually not going to lead to victory, pitching behind in the count generally. That was the important thing for him today, to really get ahead. If he got ahead with this fastball, which he just couldn't generally get down in the zone, he got himself in trouble, it really was going to make that curveball effective when he was ahead in the count. Didn't happen.
3-2.
Now the Cubs, their bullpen has not been embarrassing, to say the least. They have had some guys do a real solid job and give them a chance this year. There's just a couple guys down there that have had some struggles, but overall, Dusty's been able to rely on them.
On swinging Konerko. We caught up with Dusty Baker a short while ago and got his impressions about that second inning fight.
Well, number one, it wasn't pretty, all those walks that we had. The young man was, you know, he lost his command of the strike zone. And then Michael thought, I asked Michael what happened, and Michael said he hit him, you know, without the ball. But, I mean, that's baseball to me. I think Michael's just frustrated. You know, everybody's frustrated. And, you know, then everything just broke out.
Dusty, you talk about the frustration. You've been asked about it on a daily basis and maybe even tired of being asked about it. All the stories about whether or not you're going to be back here as manager of the Cubs. Your thoughts of that?
Well, I mean, my thoughts are, I mean, I got unfinished business here. So everybody was speculating I'm going here and going there, and I'm still here. And this is what I plan on doing, staying here and winning and bringing the championship to Chicago, to the north side.
What's the most important thing to get it turned around right now?
Right now, probably the most important thing is get our starting pitching together. You know, if they don't score, then you got a chance to win. Right now, starting pitching's a little out of whack, and then secondly, right after that, we, you know, we got to get some offense going. And you know, it'd be great to have D. Lee back, but he won't be back for 3 or 4 weeks. So we got to do something to get some offense going. We got to get a Ramos going. We got to get probably a Juan Pierre at the top of the order going, and then everything else, sort of, you know, fill in the blanks from there.
Thanks for the time, Dustin.
All right.
Always gracious, Dusty Baker. 2-2 on Dye. And it's fouled out of play down the right field line.
Well, one thing, Tom, when you're leadoff man, and the Cubs leadoff man, Juan Pierre, who I've always had a lot of respect for, he's a good ball player. He came into this game with a .268 on base percentage. And that's very, very low for a guy that needs to be out there and be the igniter of an offense. He needs to be on a little more than that.
Bouncing ball to second, and a double play will end the inning. So nice job by Novoa. We go to the 6th. 7-0 White Sox.
This is Duralast, the alternator built to exceed the need. Built with heavy-duty components to perform under extreme conditions. Engineered to surpass original equipment standards for longer life. Built with the technology to withstand high electrical demands. And backed by a nationwide lifetime warranty. Get the alternator built to exceed the need. Only at AutoZone.
Another day, another billion in big business loans.
Yeah, sir, there's something on your shoe.
Good morning. If I could just have a minute of your time.
Small business owner. Come here. Give me a pencil.
Oh, what's he want? A loan or something?
Hey, oh!
Look, he's got a business plan.
Does your bank think small about your small business? Call Capital One instead for no-hassle business loans, lines of credit, and credit cards.
Hello, Capital One.
What's in your wallet?
The pinnacle! Man's ultimate achieve! What's that? Ultimate chalupa! I thought it'd be cool, you know? Ultimate flavors, man's ultimate adventure! You're like a genius! Here's yours!
Taco Bell's new Ultimate Chalupa has layer on layer of carne asada steak, guacamole, sour cream, and fiesta salsa, surrounded by a crispy, chewy chalupa shell for layers and layers of flavor.
Sorry!
Think outside the bun.
Something new. Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll. Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh.
With our coolest cars at our lowest prices at Avis.com, everyone can roll out in style. Just another way we try harder.
Be there when the final two.
Catherine McPhee, Taylor Hicks.
Face off live in the television event of the year.
There is only one American Idol.
The two-night finale begins at 8/7 Central, Fox, Tuesday.
Back on the south side of Chicago, where the White Sox have a 7-0 lead over the Cubs. Yesterday, a rout in favor of the home team as well. The home team being the White Sox in this intra-city battle. Lined into left field and caught by Posednik. And Hairston retired to begin the Cubs' 6th inning. Time for the Pepsi fan camp. Great city of Chicago and great baseball fans on both sides of town. Wonder how the relationships work in some of these pictures you're looking at.
I think everybody can really use their own imagination and figure it out, you know. I love the fact when you have these two teams come across each other.
Base into center field by Pierre.
And these fans, the families just part. I'm a North Side fan. I'm a South Side fan. And I'd say this year is the first time since they've really started interleague playing, come across each other so much that because of the season ticket attendance being way up, that there are not as many Cub fans in the stadium. Otherwise, it would be a lot louder than it has been when the Cubs do something positive.
Well, the only run the Cubs scored in this series so far was in the first inning yesterday, and that was an unearned run against Mark Burley. They had an error by the catcher, A.J. Pierzynski, which led to the unearned run. In fact, the Cubs, after the first batter of the game, only had one hit the rest of the way against the Chicago left-hander.
You were talking about Javier Vasquez, and you know, he was one of those guys that you're very familiar with. He's very good. You worked with him in Arizona. Mark Burley, yesterday's starter, outstanding. You got Freddy Garcia, Jose Contreras. These guys, all the potential of winning 15 games, but also allowing a run early and completely getting the game back under control.
Base hit into left field off the bat of Ronnie Cedeno, his second hit today. So one away here in the top of the 6th inning, and the Cubs trying to make some noise, down by 7.
Freddy Garcia has the ability to get the ground ball, which is key for a pitcher like him, who's now not that power pitcher that he once was. Lots of movement. Fastball, he sinks it. Changeup with good movement. Pretty big breaking curveball, which he'll change speeds on. And he'll throw a slider down and into lefties and down and away to the righties. So with all of that being said, here's a guy with nothing straight and can induce the double play.
What happened in the first inning when the Cubs put 2 on with 1 out? He got a double play off the bat of Michael Barrett to end the threat. The Cubs did not have another base runner until a 1-out single in the 5th inning by Ramirez. And now they have back-to-back hits here in the 6th inning for Todd Walker. 1-0 the count. Check swing, and it's a strike. Looked like a changeup on the outside corner.
Lefty's only .207. The batting average against Garcia coming into this ball game, one of the 5 home runs that he's allowed on the year. So he has used that changeup very effectively down and away. And it comes across a whole bunch of times with Freddie out there that he's so nonchalant, non-caring, but I think the record reflects that he cares.
Hooked into right center field. It'll fall in a base hit. They're going to hold Pierre at third. He had to wait to make sure Dye would not catch that ball on the fly. And so the Cubs have him loaded. Chris Woodger coming out to visit with Freddy Garcia.
And a swing by Walker. He gets out and around the changeup. It's a good pitch by Garcia. Better hitting by Todd Walker. And Pierre in a situation when it's 7-0, not wanting to take a chance and guess that ball was going to land. He had to wait and make sure. Didn't want to get doubled up.
7-0 game, but the Cubs looking to try and get back in it. Boy, we've seen some wild comebacks all over baseball this entire year, including this week alone. The Yankees came back, matching a franchise record in the history of the Yankees, being behind 9-0 in a game. We've seen Arizona this week come back twice from 10-0 down and 5-0 down. Ground ball, double play here. There's one, and the double play will snuff the rally.
Chevy Impala SS with active fuel management, which means that a powerful 303 horsepower V8 also gets great highway mileage. Since Impala SS gives you 8 cylinders for power and 4 cylinders for better fuel economy, there's also the security of a 5-star frontal crash test rating. The Impala SS, it's a whole new animal. That's an American revolution.
For years, I ate fried food and burgers that looked like this. And I looked like this. Then I found Subway restaurants. And I realized I could enjoy lots of great tasting food without lots of fat. Like the new fresh toasted Tuscan chicken sandwich. All white meat chicken, grilled veggies, melted cheese, and Tuscan vinaigrette. All fresh out of the oven and all with 8 grams of fat. 8 grams. And with the help of the Tuscan chicken sandwich, I'm keeping it off. Subway, eat fresh.
Stubborn warts? Why wait for a doctor when you can do the same treatment at home? Introducing Dr. Scholl's Dual Action Freeze Away. It's twice as effective as freezing alone. It combines freeze technology and a maximum strength liquid. To remove large warts, see the doctor. Dr. Scholl's.
Well, it's been a long day for Strahan. What a lovely shot! Yeah!
Hey, maybe it's your deodorant. Let's start over. No, this time start with new Right Guard Sport Deodorant, now packed with even more scent. Right Guard. Start right and right.
Hey, Rod, if you're interested, there's a future for you in the beverage distribution industry.
Fox Thursday. After American Idol leaves the stage, the dancers will hit the floor hard. The creator of American Idol is stepping out in a new competition, so you think you can dance. The new season begins 8/7 Central, Thursday on Fox.
There you get a look at the governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich. Big Cub fan, as is his daughter, sitting there with him in one of the boxes here today. Of course, the longtime mayor of the Windy City, Mayor Daley. He's a big Sox fan.
Getting political now, are we?
Well.
Yeah, there's no question. The mayor and the governor.
But no one's bigger than Mayor Daley.
Well, I think that's been proven out.
Absolutely.
You know, he runs himself a heck of a city here and does a good job with it. State of Illinois also. And good hands with Blagojevich.
Now, wait a minute. I've been practicing that, and you've been listening to me practicing that for 2 innings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why I cheated off you. I've actually met him. He's been up here before. I've talked to him. He said, I'm a Cub fan. Hang with him.
Swing and a miss by Chris Woodger to begin the White Sox 6th inning. Well, you and I were talking, DJ, in between innings. You know, when you're going good, your team is going good, or you individually are going well, you know, you can break your back and you'll dump a single into right center field with the bases loaded. But when your team's going poorly, it's that double play with the bases loaded end in.
Well, I tell you, Tom, I really don't know what you're talking about. You made that up yourself.
You're right.
I've never heard that before. No, that is so true. I mean, day in and day out, as much as you've been in this business, it's just the baseball gods. It's the way they look at this business, the way it's supposed to be played. You see it. The guy that is hitting 190 is going to stand up there 0-2 before he can even take the bat off his shoulder. Bases loaded, he's going to hit into double play. A guy that's hot, going to break his bat and get a double. It's amazing. Here's somebody that's, since he's been brought to the big leagues, been Mr. Clutch, late inning JoJo Creedy. He doesn't have to come through in the 6th, the 5th, or anything like that. It's when it counts in the 8th and 9th that he's delivered.
Line into short center field. Pierre, a diving attempt, and he got it. Nice play by Juan Pierre. Will take away a hit by Joe Creedy.
You know, and the Cubs need every single effort defensively like that. I think every time there's a ball hitting the ground, the infielders need to get dirty and give it their best effort in the outfield. If they can, throw their body out there and see what they can do to pick up their pitchers. All of those types of little efforts really bring a team up.
The way DJ used to do it.
No. Come on.
Swing and a miss by Uribe. Well, you could go get him now.
Long time ago, Tom. Long time ago.
Yeah, but you're still looking good.
Yeah, you know. We're on the same workout program, you and I.
That's right. That's right, chasing your little kids around the house.
There you
That's
go.
a workout program.
Hey, man, I don't want to hear it. You're talking about your running shoes and that you are a runner.
A machine.
That's it.
It's
you just go.
Scary.
Man, you're glad to be back here running along the lake.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful weekend in Chicago. After a lot of rain over the last couple of weeks. Ground ball and a diving effort by Perez, but off the end of his glove and into right field. That'll be a 2-out single. Well, baseball today and next Saturday, and we'd like to remind you next Sunday it's NASCAR on Fox returning with Estel Cup racing from Charlotte. The world's best drivers take to the track defending champion Jimmy Johnson, trying to make it back-to-back crowns. The Coca-Cola 600 next Sunday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific in high definition, only on Fox. Now Rob Makoviak. Makoviak's been a very solid player for the Pirates the last number of years, playing just about every day. But on a team like the White Sox, he's not going to play every day. But an extremely valuable player to have coming off your bench.
Well, you're so right, Tom. The thing that he brings to this bench is that starting background. He, Alex Cintron, have been with teams and got a whole bunch of at-bats year in and year out, which means they're very valuable with that experience. Makoviak may not start on a regular basis here, but one thing Ozzie Guillen has done as a manager is make sure that those guys that sit over there play regularly. If not once a week, it's going to at least be twice. I mean, he makes sure they get that much starting time twice a week, but sometimes if the team's really going well, it could be up to 3 times a week, which is really great for them. National League players get the opportunity to come into games a lot more with double switches, pinch hitting for the pitcher. It's not the same thing in the American League.
Ozzie's used 21 different lineups so far this season for the White Sox. Swung on and fouled out of play.
My rookie year, I played in 100 games. 100 games. Felt like I was out there all the time. But I only had 182 at-bats.
Wow.
So, I mean, less than 2 at-bats every time I was on the field. But because it being in the National League, pinch hit, double switches, defensive replacement, you always felt like you were part of the team. In the American League, you don't have that luxury. You don't do the double switches. You don't hit for the pitcher.
3-2 on Makoviak.
Last year, I thought it was a little crazy, Ozzie Guillen using his bench as much as he did, but he won a world championship. I don't think anybody should question it.
That looked like a cross-up right there. Or Blanco felt the home plate umpire Greg Gibson got crossed up because he thought that was strike 3. Instead, it's ball 4. And here comes Dusty Baker. He's going to go to his left-hander Will Lohman out of the bullpen. And we'll take a timeout. 7-0 White Sox here in the 6th.
What is Budweiser? It's bright, the look of perfection. It's crisp,
with ideal flavor. It's clean for a great finish. It's pure, made with the finest all-natural ingredients.
This is Budweiser. This is clean. Budweiser. This is Bud.
This is Budweiser. This is beer.
Get that money, man. Get that money, man. Get that money, yo. I gotta get that money, man. I gotta stack cheese. I gotta stack cheese. I need at least 2 G's.
Hello, sir. 20 minutes away. Yes, sir. Bye.
Prices, I stay grinding. People trail blind. All the peeps want to stand.
160 channels of rap, rock, sports, and more with XM Satellite Radio at Avis. Just another way we try harder.
Introducing the miracle of fusion, a revolutionary technology and a unique idea come together to create new Gillette Fusion. Until now, pressure caused irritation. Fusion has 5 blades spaced closer together to reduce pressure with less irritation and more comfort. Flip Fusion over. A precision trimmer for those tricky places. The comfort of 5 blades, the precision of 1. The best shave ever in manual or battery power. New Gillette Fusion.
The pinnacle! Man's ultimate achieve! What's that? Ultimate chalupa! I thought it'd be cool, you know? Ultimate flavors, man's ultimate adventure! You're like a genius! Here's yours!
Taco Bell's new Ultimate Chalupa has layer on layer of carne asada steak, guacamole, sour cream, and fiesta salsa, surrounded by a crispy, chewy chalupa shell for layers and layers of flavor.
Sorry!
Think outside the bun.
My boyfriend wanted to go to a Cubs game for his birthday, so here we are. Go Sox. 7-0 game in favor of the White Sox. 2 on, 2 out in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Will Oman on to face Scott Podsednik. And Oman delivers strike 1. Oman up and down the last couple of years with the Cubs. And you see today he's been a busy man. 18 games since coming back up.
Those numbers are not going to blow your socks off. But he's somebody that needs to get a quick out here on the left-handed Podsednik. I'll tell you, the bullpen really has not done a bad job. There's only a couple of guys that have struggled out there for Baker. But Oman's job right now is to focus on the 3rd out with runners on and somebody in scoring position. Podsednik usually gives you a good battle, though, with a couple of strikes.
Breaking ball popped up into short left field. It will be playable for Merton, and the inning is over. A scoreless inning for the Sox. And we're back to Chicago after a break from your local Fox station.
The chase for the Cup heads south. May 28th, the Coca-Cola 600 on Fox.
How you doing? Good to see you, Mal. Good to see you. Oh, what's she doing? Was she eating a burger?
No, I'm a burger guy sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Meat chop with me, you know what I mean?
Oh, my God. Let's go down. What's with her, man? One sushi, one sushi. Don't use your fluffy cheesesteak kind guy.
This burger. Cheesesteak right there, you know what I'm saying? Popeyes, all the onion, cheese, huh? And a story.
Unbelievable.
Hello. All right, baby, the meat is always running.
The Philly Cheesesteak Thick Burger. New at Hardee's.
After leaving here today, David and Melody Taylor left their landlord for a new home. This is where 11-year-old Zach Stuhler learned there's more to banking than the drive-thru. In this room, Price T. Bowie took the hungry hobo to the next level. It's not that life revolves around banking. It's that our bank revolves around your life. American Bank and Trust. Success happens here.
Cue the fight song. It's on. The Ram 1500's available 345 horsepower Hemi with fuel-saving MDS overpowers the Chevy Silverado. The Ram Heavy Duty with Cummins Turbo Diesel out-torques the Ford Power Stroke. And the Dodge Mega Cab with the largest cab on the planet crushes the Toyota Tundra Double Cab. Who's next? Now get 0% financing for 60 months or $4,500 cash allowance on Ram 1500. Only at your local Dodge dealer.
They're mistreated.
Am I just a little bit overweight?
No! They're cheated.
You were faking it.
Oh, don't sound so surprised. I fake things plenty.
They're defeated.
God, I just want to be pregnant already. We've been trying for so long, and I'm sick of it.
Thank you. And even a little conceited.
Why did we have the children?
Because I'm a sexy, sexy man. Meet the desperate house guys of Fox 18. Weekdays starting at 5. Laugh out loud with Seinfeld. Weeknights at 10:05 on Fox 18.
Freddy Garcia takes a hill for the 7th inning. Working on a 6-hit shutout. He gave up 3 straight hits in the 6th inning. As that one is swung on and fouled out of play by Jock Jones. But for the 2nd time today in a jam, Garcia induces the double play. He got Barrett to end the 1st and Perez to end the 6th.
Jock Jones, a very live bat. It's one of those left-handed hitters that just swings late on a pitch, and next thing you know, it's about 15 rows back in the left field bleachers.
Whereas Jones had an incident with a fan at Wrigley Field this week, where a young lady threw a ball back from the bleachers that nearly hit Jock Jones in the head. Swing and a miss by Jones, and certainly the faithful on the north side of town are more than just a little testy about the start of their 2006 season.
Well, when you come in with high expectations, but one thing the fans have to realize, they're working right now handicapped. When you don't have all of your horses running, good luck winning at the major league level. I mean, some teams are so deep all around on their bench and with their starting players on the field in rotation, but the Cubs aren't built like that. They need everything that they have. They can't afford big losses.
2-2 on Jock Jones, and that one lined into right center field, a base hit. Over to cut it off is Makoviak. So Jones will lead off base runner, and we take a timeout to send it back to Los Angeles and Jeannie Zelasco.
How about the excitement of the Subway Series waking up a slumping Cliff Floyd? Solo home run had to feel real good unless you're Mike Mussina. His first home run since May 5th. It's 4-0 Mets topping.
Well, much like the rivalry in this city, at least early on this year, there is very little debate as to which is the better team in Chicago and, for that matter, New York. I mean, people can say all they want about the Yankees. They're 6 games over 500. The Mets are about to go to 10 over. And right now they have a better team.
Good point. I mean, the statement is true. At this particular point, the Mets have played better baseball, superior baseball than the Yankees. Simple as that. And the same thing could be said about the Southsiders here in Chicago. It's not to say that's the way it's going to end up, but you got to make the run at what it is now. Right now, at this particular point, somebody's got to be in charge. You can't say that they're equal, and these two teams stand up, the Sox and the Mets.
Now the other big major market where they have 2 teams, well, 2 others, but out in Los Angeles, it's up for great debate as to who is the better team. The Dodgers a slightly better record, but I mean, the Angels are the Angels. They're a team that has been a very good team over the last number of years. And in the Bay Area, again, flip a coin. A little bit better record for the Oakland Athletics, 3 games over. The Giants are a 500 team, but we'll see. Not a clear-cut decision either way. Lined into left field, a base hit by Aramis Ramirez. His 2nd hit today.
It's funny. I'm just looking at little things out on the field and how the Cubs go about their business compared to the White Sox. And there are things that fans should pay attention to see who really is giving the best effort out there. The base hit by Ramirez. You look at Jock Jones. He gingerly runs into second base. Ramirez trots down to first. White Sox have a tendency to run a little bit harder and put a little more pressure on the defense. Even if it's a routine play out there, you got to go ahead and make those fielders look up at you and see you're running hard. It makes a difference.
Well, that's a great point, DJ, because a lot of times that left fielder in a 7-0 game will rather slowly go after the ball. And if all of a sudden he has to look up and sees a guy taking a hard turn, maybe he kicks a thing.
And that starts with the manager. The manager has to tell his players, this is unacceptable. You run the bases hard. You play the game hard.
Double play ball here off the bat of Blanco. Third big one today behind Garcia. Well, it's 7-0, but certainly the most memorable moment of this game took place on a sac fly. Collision at the plate between Pierzynski and Barrett. The two bumping into one another. Barrett locking him up, throwing a right hook, and a brawl ensued. We'll be talking about that in Chicago not only tonight and tomorrow, but up until these two teams meet again, which leads us into our Flomax game summary. Iguchi knocking in a career-high 6 runs. First time he's ever hit 2 home runs in a game. And the 4 ejections today, the most of any game played in Major League Baseball this season.
You don't have that very often. I mean, even with brawls, that 4 guys get ejected because the umpires don't have eyes in the back of their heads. They can't see everything. But today it was right in front of them. They saw all the action. And actually, there could have been a little more damage done to each team. But like I said at that time, Major League Baseball will look at the video and probably there'll be some ensuing fines to certain players.
Well, the White Sox faithful sensing perhaps this could be the final batter for Freddy Garcia today. White Sox have activity in their bullpen. Matt Thornton, big left-hander, cranking it up. Boy, what an unbelievable rotation this is on the south side of Chicago. Ground ball to short, should in the inning. Backing up, Uribe throws in time. Burley yesterday, Garcia today, Jose Contreras off the DL tomorrow.
Here's to men, to guys who want to take longer drives with fewer pit stops. And here's to Flomax. It's approved to treat male urinary symptoms due to BPH, also called an enlarged prostate. In 1 week, Flomax may help symptoms like going often, going urgently, weak stream, frequently waking up at night to go. Ask your doctor if symptoms are from BPH, not prostate cancer. Common side effects of Flomax are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen. Upon standing, a sudden decrease in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting. So when starting Flomax, avoid situations where injury could result. To learn more, call 866-4-FLOMAX. Ask your doctor. Flomax could make a difference in 1 week.
For my sport, the only sunscreen is Coppertone Sport.
It's non-greasy, so I won't lose my grip.
And it doesn't run in my eyes, no matter how hard I sweat.
Coppertone Sport, high-performance sunscreens.
Listen, I don't care if you want to sell yourself for less, but $1?
People are psyched about this, Dad. You'd know that if you'd pull your head out of your bun.
Watch it, Burger Boy.
Whopper Jr. for $1. Bringing some attitude to the new BK value menu.
I didn't go to AutoZone because I was too busy to change my antifreeze.
I didn't go to AutoZone because who needs a tune-up?
If you've been avoiding regular car maintenance, get to AutoZone. They have everything to help you keep your car safe and on the road. AutoZone. Get in the zone.
Will you be hauling 7 tons of sheet metal? Or 70 pounds of plywood? 12,000 pounds of cattle? Or a little something for a do-it-yourself job? We can't be certain how you'll use your GMC Sierra heavy-duty pickup, so we engineered it with the most available horsepower and torque in its class. GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade.
Fox Saturday Baseball, sponsored by Burger King, who reminds you to have it your way, and by GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade. Beautiful look at the city of Chicago, the fabulous skyline on the shores of Lake Michigan. Will Oman on the mound facing Tadahito Iguchi, one of only 8 players this season to knock in 6 or more runs in a game. Ben Broussard of the Indians knocked in 8 runs back at the end of April against the Boston Red Sox. But for Iguchi, his first career grand slam, his first career multi-homer game, and a career high 6 runs batted in. 3-0.
And we talked about Jim Thome taking everybody and bringing them home. Come on.
Nobody left when he comes to the plate.
That's it. I mean, Iguchi said, no, not today. This is my show. He's a good ball player, that Tadahito Iguchi. Simple as that. A great acquisition, especially if he's getting on in front of this man strolling to the plate.
Jim Thome grew up in Illinois and grew up as a Chicago Cub fan. We talked to him about it before the game here yesterday.
If you grew up in Illinois, I think you're either, you know, you're definitely either a Cubs or Sox fan, but you know, I just think the Cub games were on TV more. That's really the only reason why we've really filtered to the Cubs. But you know, I told them today they better not wear any Cub hats. That's for sure.
If there's a more likable guy in the game of baseball today than Jim Thome, then I have not had the pleasure to meet him.
I think we had Ozzie Guillen make a statement. If you can find something bad to say about Jim Thome, there's something wrong with you.
Yep. I mean, he's one of those rare people in life, forget baseball, one of the rare people in life that it is true what Ozzie points out, is that anybody who's ever come in contact with this guy, you could go find every person that's ever met him or been around him for any length of time whatsoever, and they will have nothing but good things to say about him. He is an extraordinary guy. And in fact, here's what Ozzie was talking about in reference to Thome yesterday.
And you talk to anybody in baseball, I don't say anybody go to say anything bad about Jim Thome. If you ask me about me, people might say I hate that man or whatever, but by Jim Thome, nobody in baseball go to talk anything about this man, and what he does on the field is awesome. But when he do off the field, what people can see is better.
It's quite a statement for a guy who's closing in on 500 career home runs.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You don't see that very often. Superstar caliber player that has nothing but accolades said about him, because so many players, they get the big hit when they become so successful, and that's not been the case for Jim Thome. He's involved with the community. I mean, as the skipper Ozzie Guillen just pointed out, a lot of things he does that people don't even see.
And what a return indeed for Jim Thome. #1 in slugging percentage, home runs, and RBIs back in the American League. Hit a mile high and playable for Blanco. One away here in the home half of the 7th inning. Well, he talked about Jim Thome and where he ranks among the game's active players and career home runs. Well, that's a who's who there. You know about Barry Bonds? Ken Griffey Jr. Boy, where would he be were it not for all the injuries the last 4 years? He'd be probably right on the heels of Barry Bonds, Frank Thomas, Gary Sheffield, Jim Thome. You know, the great thing about that list, as Dusty's going to make a change, is outside of all the rumors around Barry Bonds, you know, Griffey, Frank Thomas, and Jim Thome. Never a word about those guys and steroid use. So not everybody that's hitting home runs.
Take this, take him down. Give me the tape. Let's go. Ready? Here we go. Let's go.
With 13 feet of standout, no other tape comes close. The Fat Max Extreme from Stanley.
Hey, Rod, if you're interested, there's a future for you in the beverage distribution industry.
It's a fact. The more we learn about how to take care of ourselves and our families, the longer and healthier our lives become. That's why more people turn to WebMD than any other health information source. It's a place where people find answers to health questions with an ease never before possible, where doctors discover new and better ways to care for their patients. A place where everyone can finally forge a link between better information and better health. WebMD.
sometimes kids just don't see it. Steroids can ruin bones, tendons, organs, and dreams. Talk to your kids about the dangers of steroids. Visit drugfree.org.
Good guys wear black. That was the team logo here for a long, long time on the south side, right?
Yeah, matter of fact, when I first joined this team back in '94, that was the slogan.
When they had the Big Hurt and Black Jack McDowell and that whole group.
Oh, yes, a lot of fun, that group. And so was that advertisement. As you see the numbers, the good numbers on Scott Williams this year out of that bullpen, huh?
Well, a one-time flamethrower when he came up with the Cincinnati Reds. That one shot into right center field, and nice. The running catch by Pierre out near the warning track. That ball hit very hard by Konerko, but it's allowed out.
Juan Pierre, look at this jump. Last second had to make a little adjustment back, but because of that read and jump off of the bat, he put himself in a position to make that catch, and that is so important for a center fielder. Pierre, he's got makeup speed, but when you get jumps like that, it doesn't matter. You don't need it.
Pitch high to Jermaine Dye. Go behind the scenes, if you will, with Jermaine Dye. He grew up in Northern California, big San Francisco Giants fan. His father played in the NBA with the Detroit Pistons and then injured his knee, which ended his career. And his father wound up being a city bus driver in the San Francisco area for many, many years. There's a fly ball in the center field, but his father would always find days of the week off to coach his son, Jermaine Dye. Quality player, quality upbringing.
Introducing the new 2007 Yukon Denali, the definition of great engineering.
I think it happens to a lot of guys over 50. See, I was always going during the movies and hating to stand up, going during a presentation and hating to stand out.
For you this afternoon.
And once I got there, I had trouble going, and I was going 3 times a night. I said to my doctor, I have a going problem. He said, you have a growing problem. It's not your bladder. Your prostate is growing. See, I had an enlarging prostate. My doctor prescribed Avodart.
Most medicines only treat symptoms. Avodart, with time, actually shrinks the prostate and improves urinary symptoms.
So I can go more easily when I need to go and go less often.
Only your doctor can tell if your symptoms are from an enlarged prostate and not a more serious condition such as prostate cancer, so have regular prostate exams. Avodart is for men only. Women should not take or handle Avodart due to the risk of a specific birth defect. Tell your doctor if you have liver disease. Rarely, sexual side effects, tenderness, or swelling of the breast can occur. Call your doctor today. Avodart for your growing problem.
Forget what you think you know about light beers, because they never looked like this or tasted like this. Introducing Michelob Ultra Amber, with a deep amber color and full-flavored taste. The world of light beer just got a little darker. Michelob Ultra Amber, the new look of light beer.
Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by the new Michelob Ultra Amber. It's the new look of light beer. Well, they've been known from time to time to have a cold beer in the Windy City, just every now and again. Or so I'm told. We begin the 8th inning, and Freddy Garcia still on the mound. I mean, Ozzie Guillen, you know, he comes from that old school, and you hear it referred to in so many different areas about baseball. But I mean, one of those areas is allowing your starting pitchers to pitch real deep in the game. Now, he's very blessed that he has a group of pitchers that like to do it and can do it. But he'll run him back out there. I mean, you know, Garcia's pitch count and not even 100 yet as we open the 8th inning.
What's your thoughts on that? What, I mean, how do you feel?
It.
Yeah, I mean,
but you got to have guys that can do it. I mean, you know, it's one thing to say, hey, yeah, I want to see my starter stay in there, you know, for 7, 8, 9 innings, complete what he started. You know, you hear all that. But, I mean, this is a special group here.
Right. And Ozzie, of course, has enhanced it by saying, I want certain type of pitchers here. And they've gone out and done it for him. That's one thing about he and Kenny Williams is, as a pair, they talk, they say what they want as a unit available to themselves, and guess what? Ozzie gets it. He gets a Javier Vasquez. He gets a Freddy Garcia, and he's built this team. Since he's joined this organization, Ozzie has told him, I want baseball players. Don't give me good athletes, give me baseball players. And baseball players, when they pitch, they want to go 9.
Off the end of the bat in a short left field, and coming over to get it, Pasetnik. Thurston retired to begin the 8th inning. We talked to Juan Pierre about this Chicago offense before the ball game.
Number one, offense. I think starting with me, I haven't been doing my job, haven't been getting on base, creating runs like I know I can, and it hadn't been carrying over. Usually throughout the lineup, you maybe have 2 or 3 guys that are not hitting, but we went to a point where we had like the whole lineup that wasn't hitting, so nobody was picking each other up. And the pitch has been there. The pitch has been good enough to win games. We just haven't got it going offensively, and I take a lot of responsibility for that.
You know, we were talking about Jim Thome being one of the most likable guys in baseball. Well, Juan Pierre is right there with it.
Wasn't that refreshing what he just said?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he just flat out said, look, you know, the pitching's done its job well enough to basically give us a chance. But when you have guys like myself who are supposed to be a table setter and I don't get it done, you know what? That's my fault. I don't want to push the buck. I should get it going. And he is the kind of player, if you ask me, especially seeing that attitude of his, if he gets on first base, he wants to steal second, steal third, and create a run. He's the kind of guy that can do it.
He is just such a delightful young man from Cajun country. Grew up in Louisiana. I'll never forget being at old Candlestick Park when Juan Pierre was playing for the Colorado Rockies, and watching him as Willie Mays walked up to him and said, young man, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed watching you play the game, as Pierre is gone, strike 3 on a check swing, 2 away in the inning. And Juan Pierre later recalling that conversation and said, I just can't believe that Willie Mays has any idea who I am.
You know, I love to hear stories like that, because here is somebody also telling you he understands the history of the game. And that's good to see. So many ball players actually do not even know the history of baseball. The great players like Willie Mays, and what an honor it is when they do come up and acknowledge you. Good for Juan Pierre.
Oh, he's a great kid. Now, Juan is not lying about this offense and the way it has been since the final week of April. Not necessarily the day that Derek Lee went down, but in that same week. The Cubs started the year in grand style. They had 16 runs in the season opener against the Reds. They swept the Cardinals in a series at Wrigley Field. But look at the difference, averaging 2 runs per game in their last 20 games. So the shortstop, Uribe, throws off balance, picked out of there by Konerko, and that'll end the inning. Garcia, 8 strong innings again.
2, please.
Introducing Keep the Change.
There you go. Enjoy the show.
Each time you make a purchase with your Bank of America Visa check card, we not only round up the amount to the next dollar and transfer your change from your checking to your savings account, we also match your savings for the first 3 months and continue matching 5% thereafter. Up to $250, which means there's a new easy way to save right at your fingertips. Open a checking account and keep the change. Only at Bank of America. Higher standards.
It's an achievement worth a cheer. New Vanilla Mint Listerine. A less intense Listerine. So now there's no reason for anyone not to get the healthy benefits of Listerine. It's every bit as powerful at fighting germs that cause plaque, gingivitis, and bad breath. Plus, it has a less intense vanilla mint taste. Now everyone can get the protection of Listerine. Less intense vanilla mint Listerine. Now there's a Listerine for everybody.
Avis preferred member Mike Plotzker, space C2. Don't forget your bags and your love of adventure.
Excuse me?
This is Mike Thunderpants Plotzker, the occasional base jumper, jello wrestler, the guy who likes to smear cream cheese all over.
Whoa.
Too far?
Yeah.
Sure. You may be here for a meeting, but there's a hang gliding place just off Route 9.
Avis Preferred Service. Skip the counter, go straight to your car. Have more time to do what you want. Oh, no! Just another way we try harder.
Animation Domination returns with a vengeance. The Simpsons season finale features Mandy Moore.
Cancel all my appointments.
Sweet! Then, Family Guy's super freaking fabulous finale looks to the future.
Knock, knock. She had a sex change after college. Wow, she went to college?
It all starts at 7, 6 Central tomorrow on Fox.
Fox Saturday Baseball is sponsored by Vanilla Mint Listerine. Less intense, equally effective. By Bank of America, the easy way to help you save. And by Avis, where we try harder to make your trip better. Dan Ryan under construction. And so it might take you a little bit longer to get over here to the cell, as they call it. But when you get here, you're going to see a mighty good baseball team.
As a matter of fact, you got to see Freddy Garcia on top of his game this afternoon. Pitching coach Don Cooper going over, shaking hands. The indicator, he's done.
8 innings, 8 hits, no runs. Allowed by Garcia. And this will be, unless the Cubs can have a miracle comeback in the top of the 9th inning, his 7th consecutive win. The Cub closer just on to get a little work. And he has not been given many situations as Ryan Dempster to try and come in and close out games. And of course, getting back to what we were talking about a little while ago, as you look at the numbers on Garcia, we talked about how good he's been during the day going back to 1999. But when your team is going poorly, of course, in the middle of that terrible run, the closer will get a rare chance to close a game. And in Dempster's case, you blow it. You give up a 3-run home run to Mike Piazza in the game last Sunday to lose to San Diego.
Inactivity, no question. And the pressure situations. I mean, when you're put in it and you haven't been in it, no telling how you're going to respond, even though it's your responsibility to get it done. And another thing, you bring in closers generally in these situations, it falls along the lines of struggles. Well, they usually give up runs in these situations. Not many can go out there without that game being on the line and have a whole lot of success. It's just a strange oddity in baseball.
Well, what a pickup Dempster has turned out to be. A one-time All-Star with the Marlins. Injured his arm, missed an entire season, came back with the Reds as a starter. Came to the Cubs with the idea that he would be a starter, but then during spring training 2 years ago, Joe Borowski, their closer, was hurt. And so they decided, you know, we'll let Ryan Dempster try it. And then they had made that decision, and then literally a week later they had injuries in their rotation during spring training, so he went back into the rotation. Eventually found himself back in the bullpen and has been one of the better closers in the National League over about the last year and a half.
Boy, isn't it amazing, Tom, how difficult it is to find the right guy to close games out. The personality has to be there to handle that pressure, and obviously they found somebody in Dempster. Just not that easy to have somebody that's not already established as a closer step in and get it done.
0-2 pitch, and it's popped up. Cedeno squeezing it tightly. You know, both the Cubs and the White Sox do so many wonderful things in this community. The White Sox, in fact, are teaming up with MLB and Habitat for Humanity to build a house in partnership with a family who relocated to Illinois after Hurricane Katrina. All the great work Habitat for Humanity has done down there. The site is Armour Square Park, just north of U.S. Cellular Field. It'll be one of the first homes in a subdivision that will eventually house over 500 families. And back on May the 9th, a week and a half ago, the Konerkos, Pierzynskis, Kosedniks, and Tomies were over at the construction site. and meeting all the volunteer workers. Great stuff.
And some of those guys actually look like they knew what they were doing with the hammer. Others stick to the day job they have.
Well, you think about where they're from now. And you got to believe the big Jim Thome knows how to handle it.
He was the one that had the best hammering technique,
Oh, yeah.
I must say. Just like hitting a baseball to him, no big deal.
Thome grew up in Peoria, Illinois. Went to his first big league game at Wrigley Field with his father. He said his family would take 2 or 3 trips a summer to Chicago to see the Cubs, and then they'd go down to St. Louis to see the Cubs play the Cardinals. One of the great rivalries in the National League.
Tom, I'm going to go down on a limb and say, now, I'm just going out there and say that your first big league game you saw was in Cincinnati.
No.
No.
No. Good guess. Very good guess.
All right,
No,
Houston.
before my dad got that job down there, we were living in Virginia and drove down to Atlanta, Georgia. First big league game was 17 innings long.
Introducing the miracle of fusion, a revolutionary technology and a unique idea come together to create new Gillette Fusion. Until now, pressure caused irritation. Fusion has 5 blades spaced closer together to reduce pressure with less irritation and more comfort. Flip Fusion over. A precision trimmer for those tricky places. The comfort of 5 blades, the precision of 1. The best shave ever in manual or battery power. New Gillette Fusion.
From coast to coast, cops are cracking down on safety belt violations. It doesn't matter who you are or where you live. They'll be on the lookout. Cops write tickets to save lives. If you don't buckle up, expect a ticket. Click it or ticket.
Heard of the pyramid? Check out the square. All the taste in a late night fourth meal. Melty, crunchy, spicy, and grilled. The tastes are exciting. Only Taco Bell's got them. If it's not fourth meal, it's just food.
For my sport, the only sunscreen is Coppertone Sport.
It's non-greasy, so I won't lose my grip.
And it doesn't run in my eyes, no matter how hard I sweat.
Coppertone Sport, high-performance sunscreens.
New improved Roundup. Now so effective, it even beats the weather. Roundup still kills the root, but now it works so fast, nothing can stop it, not even the rain. So weeds go down and stay down, guaranteed. New improved Roundup. The best gets even better. Fox Tuesday. This is one season finale that has it all.
Which one of you is House?
The season finale of House at 9/8 Central, Fox Tuesday. Viewer discretion advised.
We begin the top of the 9th inning. White Sox won the series opener yesterday behind Mark Burley beating Greg Maddux, and lead today 7-0 as Matt Thornton, former #1 draft pick by the Seattle Mariners, takes over out of the White Sox bullpen.
Matt Thornton, one of those projects for pitching coach Don Cooper that seems to be paying off. Some guys have come in from other organizations, and he has the ability to turn them around.
1-2 to Todd Walker. Well, Thornton, a former highly thought of prospect, as you mentioned, DJ, as a starter in the Seattle organization last couple of years, used exclusively as a reliever, and they made that deal for Joe Borchard at the final week of spring training.
Yes, it was one of those things where it was a win-win for both players.
There's a little giddy up on that fastball. 98 miles per hour on the radar gun. Mercy.
No effort. That's Thornton's forte.
Well, today's Chevrolet Player of the Game, Tadahito Iguchi. In recognition of his outstanding play, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Chevy, an American revolution. First career Grand Slam, first career multi-home run game, career high by 6 runs batted in. And Iguchi, as we mentioned, with now 8 3-hit games this season. That's most by any player in the American League. Guy can play. Grounded in the hole. Uribe, a long throw, and safe at first. Perez able to leg it out.
Well, Juan Uribe with an extremely strong throwing arm from deep in the hole and accurate, but it's hard to get a lot on this with the momentum going towards the third base left field line, and that hop on that throw just allows Nefi Perez to hit the bag before it hit the glove.
Now Jock Jones fouled out of play. For our local viewers here in Chicago, we invite you to stay tuned for live post-game coverage with Corey McFerrin and Ron Coomer here on our Fox affiliate. They'll have extended coverage on today's game and the fight. And for everybody else, volleyball. That's a good-looking curveball there by Thornton. Strike 2. Well, they get this guy straightened out. Look out.
Well, I'm telling you, he has already gotten to a point. It happened quickly, the turnaround for him of throwing strikes. That was the concern.
Check swing, and Jones went around. Ball getting by Chris Widger and advancing on his second Perez. That'll be a wild pitch. And that's strike 3 to Jock Jones.
Well, it looked like Jock was just unable to stop that barrel of the bat. Went a little too far. He's got some strong wrists, but apparently that bat a little top heavy on him.
I'd like to thank our producer of today's game, Jeff Gowan, our director, John Moore, our associate director, Eric Billigmeyer, our broadcast associate, Brian Biederman, our technical producer from right here in Chicago, Craig Marlowe, and our technical director, Scott Daly. Senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers are David Hill and Ed Gorin. Kicking off our 11th season of Major League Baseball on Fox. Hopefully it won't be our last. Commissioner Seeley, I hope you're watching. I mean, he lives right up the road in Milwaukee, right?
Oh, that's exactly
Game's
right.
got to be on.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Seeley. 1-1 pitch. Swinging a foul ball back out of play, but we'll be with you every Saturday through the course of the regular season to the Division Series, both National and American League Championship Series, culminating with a World Series. And Ozzie Guillen's defending world champions, looking to add to the best record in all of baseball to begin 06. A breaking ball hit Ramirez. They want to know if he swung at the ball. That's the way a game ended last night in Pittsburgh. It hit him, and apparently he did not go around.
Well, the White Sox had a controversy very similar to that not too long ago. There's a check swing in Minnesota by Michael Barrett. He went completely around. Ball hit him in his back elbow, and it was called a no swing. He went to first base. Minnesota went on to score a whole bunch of runs. And in this particular incident, it appeared that Ramirez definitely did not go around.
So now Blanco with 2 on and 2 out. Just throw a fastball right by him at 98.
That is some smooth sailing heat, isn't it?
Boy, is it ever. Man. One to Blanco. Ground ball down to third. Creedy gobbles it up the short way, and that's out. Garcia and Thornton combine on a 9-hit shutout, and the White Sox in back-to-back games have beaten up on their crosstown rivals. DJ, I think you're going to have a fun summer watching this ball club.
Thank you, Tommy. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, the White Sox go to 28-14. The Cubs slip to 17-25. For more information on today's game, and the latest information on Major League Baseball, log on to foxsports.com, powered by MSN. For Darren Jackson and our entire crew, I'm Tom Brenneman saying thanks so much for joining us from Chicago. A wild one on the south side of town today, but it ends in a White Sox rout. Jeannie Zalasko and Kevin Kennedy will belong in the Fox Network Center. After these messages, we'll see you next Saturday from D.C.
Here's to men, to guys who want to take longer drives with fewer pit stops. And here's to Flomax. It's approved to treat male urinary symptoms due to BPH, also called an enlarged prostate. In 1 week, Flomax may help symptoms like going often, going urgently, weak stream, frequently waking up at night to go. Ask your doctor if symptoms are from BPH, not prostate cancer. Common side effects of Flomax are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen. Upon standing, a sudden decrease in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting. So when starting Flomax, avoid situations where injury could result. To learn more, call 866-4-FLOMAX. Ask your doctor. Flomax could make a difference in 1 week.
It's an achievement worth a cheer. New Vanilla Mint Listerine. A less intense Listerine. So now there's no reason for anyone not to get the healthy benefits of Listerine. It's every bit as powerful at fighting germs that cause plaque, gingivitis, and bad breath. Plus, it has a less intense vanilla mint taste. Now everyone can get the protection of Listerine. Less intense vanilla mint Listerine. Now there's a Listerine for everybody.
So 7th inning stretch. Game tied at 6. Back after this.
Good afternoon. How can I help you?
I have a question about my account. I also have some checks to deposit.
No problem. I can help you with both of those.
Really?
What's your question?
Can I transfer?
At Bank of America, our managers are there for you, offering solutions to make your banking easier.
We're back here in the bottom of the 7th, and the first pitch.
Bank of America, higher standards.
Here's all you need to know to get a thick green lawn without all those dandelions. Nothing, and I mean nothing, works better than Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2. What's the secret? It's got a special formula with patented small particles. They stick to the leaf, they kill to the root, killing dandelions completely, guaranteed. And Turf Builder Plus 2 greens and thickens for the best kind of lawn there is. A Scott's lawn. Nothing beats Scott's Turf Builder Plus 2.
It all comes down to this. You take your best shot, might miss. You take it anyway. You're gonna make your move today. Got the will, you'll find a way to change the world someday. Grab this moment before it's gone. Today's your day. It's on. It's on. It's on.
Just in case it got lost in the bikinis, AVP Volleyball, it is on. They're on. Yes, they're barely there, but they're on. AVP Volleyball from Santa Barbara coming up next on Fox. And speaking of it being on, maybe that is what A.J. Pierzynski shouted when he crossed home plate.
Well, we don't know what he said, but we know A.J.'s always in the middle of something. And, you know, it was a clean, aggressive play by A.J. Pierzynski running into Michael Barrett. But if you saw the play, you didn't see it, you're going to see it in a minute. Michael Barrett pops A.J. Pierzynski, and it seemed to ignite the White Sox because they're the ones that came out of it swinging the bats well.
And the White Sox really didn't need to be fired up. It's the Cubbies that were looking for the rallying cry. We check it out again here.
Now, Michael Barrett's trying to block the play right here. Pierzynski's trying to run him over. That's a clean play. But what happened there, we don't know.
No.
Perhaps some verbiage, but we know there was some fist swinging right there. But here's how you answer it. Iguchi comes right up right after this and hits a grand slam home run. They really just knocked the Cubs out, literally, with the bat right there, Jeannie. 2 home runs for Iguchi. Freddy Garcia wins his 7th game, 8 strong innings. Pitched very, very good baseball once again today. Hey, the Cubs, we talked about the Angels before, Jeannie. We talked about the Angels having some fights in the clubhouse verbally. This was a fight on the field between two teams that are rivals now in their city. And now, the Chicago-White Sox are the team to beat. They're trying to win a pennant again this year. They're a better ball club for me than they were a year ago because of their pitching staff 1 through 5, the addition of Jim Thome. It's the Cubs that have some issues.
All right, speaking of issues, the Mets had some issues at the end of the game. In New York at Shea, it looked like Pedro was going to take this one home because he was shutting down the Yankees.
He really was. I mean, great changeup again, great cutter, had everything going. You've seen us pitch very well for the Yankees. Look how strong Delgado is right there going opposite field. Oh, that wasn't. Who was that? Was that Delgado? I missed it. And here's David Wright. We know who this is. This is David Wright going over the head of Johnny Damon. Looked like last night's play right there off of Mo Rivera. Almost a duplicate. Maybe got to play David Wright a little bit deeper, Johnny. 2-0 Mets early. Now Pedro to Derek Jeter right there, strike 3 swinging. Fastball's about 89 to 90, sometimes hit 91, 92. Here's Delgado I'm talking about.
Delgado, yes.
Opposite field, 396 sign, 14 home runs. See how strong Delgado is. I mean, the Mets are in command, 4-0, Jeannie, in the 9th inning. Billy Wagner
did not have it going on.
He walked 3. He hit a batter in this inning. He came in with a 4-0 lead and nobody on base to start it. Johnny Damon, because of his speed, just beats the throw at first base. That would have ended the game. Instead, it's 4-4 as we speak, bottom of the 9th.
And we should point out here, Melky Cabrera with a great at-bat, 11-pitch at-bat, really just working Wagner over and over. You could see mentally that he was really starting to lose his focus at that point.
Yeah, as the guys are talking about, Tim McCarver and Joe Buck, they hope that Cabrera can be the guy to take the spot in the outfield. I mean, the guy was hitting 386 in AAA Columbus before the recall. Matsui, we know, may be out for the year, maybe not. He says no. He'd like to come back. But nonetheless, they need an outfielder, somebody to step up. Sheffield's wrist is still bothering him. So Cabrera is the guy. Remember, he came up last year for a cup of coffee with the Yankees, looked overmatched, went to winter ball, played some outfield, played different positions, been working with Don Mattingly so far up here in the big leagues. He's looking pretty good.
All right, let's go back to the highlight of this game for the Mets, and that would be the pitching of Pedro Martinez. We'll see what the outcome is here, but he should be proud of what he did on the field.
He's been outstanding. And it doesn't throw 95 to 96 anymore until he really needs it. When he really needs a big fastball, he gets it. But look at the arm angle of Pedro Martinez on all of his pitches. What's it going to be? Well, that's an 89-mile-an-hour fastball right there. Here's the breaking ball, the curveball, over the top, 73, 16 miles an hour difference. Same release point, basically same arm angle, same arm speed, and that's his changeup, 79 miles an hour. Now what's it going to be? A little breaking ball, a little cutter? Yeah, a little cutter. That's a pitch that he's added 85 miles an hour the last few years. And now what's this going to be? When he needs to come out of the ballgame and finish off Kelly Stinnett, second and third right there, he punched it up to 93 miles an hour. So what I'm saying is 93 with his top fastball, 73 with his changeup, the off-speed stuff in between in the mid-80s. That's very tough for any hitter in baseball, especially when you have the same arm angle, same arm speed on all your pitches. And that's why he's still successful in the big leagues. And as Pedro has said, you know, I don't throw 95, 96 anymore consistently like I used to. I don't have to. I know when I need to reach back and get one big, I can and get a big punch out, and he did in Kelly Stinnett after the 7th.
Yeah, both starters today, Mike Mussina and Pedro Martinez, saying that they faced each other now 8 times, and the biggest difference over the years is that they've gotten a lot smarter. They know when to use it when they have to, because they don't have it all the time. They're not going to have the gas out there all the time.
I think of Roger Clemens right away for the past decade, and he may come back and pitch again, who knows, but he added that split-fingered fastball. Roger throws 93, 94, 95 sometimes, but it's the split that's made that fastball look that much better. This is what we talked about in the pregame show with Randy Johnson. This is what he needs to do. I know he throws good still. 92 is a good fastball, but you add something off speed, keep working on it, maybe a split, maybe a changeup, which I know he has one, but he hasn't thrown a lot of them, and I think it's going to make him successful again, too.
I'll tell you what makes you look a whole lot better, too, if your defense is not porous, and Mike Mussina did not have the gloves working behind him today.
The Yankees right near the bottom in the American League, 13th overall in fielding. I mean, you've got to have some help defensively. A-Rod has played a pretty good third base for the Yankees. A little bit high 3/4 with his sidearm. He pushed. There's an error right there. Here's a stolen base. Kelly Stinnett into center field. Corey Posada, remembers, on the bench because of back problems that he had coming out of the ball game a couple days ago. Throws that into center field.
Is this Giambi's fault?
Well, you know what? Mussina's looking for the ball in the bag at the same time. What you try to do is get the ball to the pitcher before he reaches the bag. That might have been a play. Jason could have taken it himself to first base. Then Balone comes in the 8th inning. He throws one away. 4 Yankee errors, Jeannie. And that's not going to get it done, especially when you don't have your corner outfielders, Matsui and Sheffield. You still have a good offensive ball club, but I'll tell you, the pitching staff really is second overall in the American League. Not that bad as far as ERA is concerned, but when you have a discrepancy between earned runs and runs that is so great, that means you're not playing good enough defense, and 13th in the league tells you that.
Yeah, last we checked with the Mets and the Yankees, 7 errors today, most combined errors ever in a Mets-Yankees game. And, of course, the big error, if you will, in Chicago was the showdown at the plate. And you wonder who's going to come out looking good from this, because the Cubs absolutely needing something to rally behind. The club, him, Barry Bonds.
Heard of him.
He's on deck.
Okay.
He's on deck. So
7-14
when he
on the
actually
way,
gets
maybe?
up there and he's ready to do some business, we will absolutely bring it to you. In the interim, as we just talk about Mr. Barry Bonds sitting and waiting on this home run, really, he's admitted he's tired. He's really worn down.
He has. There's no question about that. And from a technical standpoint, you talk about where does the power come from. Let's talk about baseball. Where does the power come from? In reality, the lower half of your body creates the bat speed. And if you've ever broken down, and we've done it right here on Fox, Barry Bonds' swing, you know, he loads as well as anybody, goes down, compresses his weight before he strides forward. That's what keeps him back. Well, he can't load the same way, and he can't plant the front knee, the front leg to stop himself to create the bat speed, so he kind of drifts at times, and that's why he's having trouble getting through a low fastball. So this is what to look for today with Barry Bonds. Can he get through a low pitch? I think the league knows this now. That's why he's 4 for 29 since his last home run a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday night against John Lieber. You know, that was a high pitch that night. If you get the ball up, he's going to hit it. But right now, he's got to be able to load. And because of his physical ailments with the right knee especially, he's not able to do it.
I'll tell you, it doesn't help if you don't get the opportunity to swing the bat. Barry Bonds on deck, batter in front of him strikes out. So we have to wait for the next half inning.
Suspense.
We will get a lot of
suspense.
suspense. He's keeping us waiting for weeks and weeks, and we're going to make you wait a little bit longer. We'll break down more from Chicago right after this.
The season's biggest games unfold on Fox. Chipper Jones and the Braves are out to prove they're still the class of the NL East. But Aramis Ramirez looks to spark a turnaround and get the Cubs back on track. Fox Saturday Baseball next week. Check local listings.
Fox Thursday. Get your dance on.
You look fantastic.
The creator of American Idol steps up with an all-new season of the only dance show that searches for the best dancer in America. We're still looking. So you think you can dance? All new season begins at 8/7 Central, Fox Thursday.
Crocs Tour on Fox. The world's top players are digging for the title as they head to Santa Barbara for the women's final. The battle under the sun begins here. Next on Fox.
It's coming up next on Fox. AVP volleyball from Santa Barbara. This first, shall we, tie ball game. 2 outs, bottom 9 at Shea. Jose Valentin says, you know what, I got some time. Let's hang around for a while and play a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, that's disappointing. Billy Wagner's had a real tough time his last 4 appearances at Shea. I mean, he's the guy they got. I mean, he's throwing hard. There's nothing wrong. I mean, he's the guy they got to solidify that bullpen. The Mets do have a good bullpen with Duaner Sanchez and Jorge Julio and guys like that. And Billy Wagner, I mean, he's still throwing 97. There's nothing wrong with his arm, and when you're throwing 97, but, you know, he's kind of overthrowing right now. A little bit like Brad Lidge. The Houston Astros actually took him out of the closing role for a while.
Out of the spot for a while.
Yeah, just to work on the mechanics, slow himself down a little bit. This seems like Billy is all pumped up and was flying open today.
It's interesting you bring that up because coming into this game and after a Friday night victory over the Yankees, you couldn't tell if it was a regular season game or if we were in October that they had taken the Yankees down to defeat. So I'm wondering if he was a little too keyed up coming into this one.
I think there's a lot to that. I mean, he pitched in a city that, you know, can be very vocal as well in Philadelphia. But coming to New York and having the challenge of facing the Yankees, especially at your home ballpark, I mean, he's the guy. They play the same music, Metallica music, as Mariano Rivera. Who gets that song coming in as a closer? You know, Billy Wagner's had it for years, so has Mariano Rivera. So, unfortunately, for them, he just didn't get it done at a 4-run lead. It wasn't even a save situation, but he blew a game right there.
Yeah, dude just needs to chill out, right? Maybe go to the beach a little bit.
Yeah.
Hang with the kids in SoCal and Santa Barbara. Funny you bring that up. AVP volleyball on Fox is coming up next, and we want to get you warmed up for it. A Fox Watch taking us to Santa Barbara for Mike Goldberg and Sinjin Smith.
Jeannie, thank you very much, and welcome to the beach in Santa Barbara, California. After baseball, it's the AVP Crocs Tour Women's Final of the Santa Barbara Open. Well, hi again, everybody. Mike Goldberg alongside Beach legend St. John Smith. And St. John, we will see two of the best women's teams in the world in our championship today. Misty May and Carrie Walsh, the Olympic gold medalist, taking on Rachel Wacholder and Elaine Youngs.
Well, yeah, two of the best teams in the world. This is outstanding. We have them here in the United States. Misty May and Carrie Walsh are the #1 team. But the last two times these teams met in the finals, it was Rachel and Elaine that won. So this should be one of the best matches of all times.
Well, Rachel Wacholder, Elaine Youngs won 3 titles last year on the AVP Tour, defeating Misty May and Carrie Walsh in the championship all 3 times. For those who have not seen beach volleyball recently, especially the women's game, what can they expect to see today?
Oh, these are the best athletes in the world. Dig, dive, set, pass, jump, everything. I mean, the best athletes in the world playing this game are right here today.
Could be a monumental day for the team of Misty May and Carrie Walsh. They look for their 50th win as teammates here in Santa Barbara. It's beach volleyball coming up after baseball. Should be great. Back to you, Jeannie.
Rough work today. We're gonna keep it in SoCal. Go to Dodger Stadium. Hey, isn't that Juan Rivera?
Juan Rivera hitting the 4th spot. With all the injuries the Angels have had, they need Juan Rivera to come through. Kennedy's been hitting all over the place. 2nd in the lineup, 3rd in the lineup, 5th in the lineup, 9th in the lineup. If he would score the Angels on the board 1-0. They have lost, Jeannie, 15 out of their last 20 games, and the Dodgers have won 10 out of their last 13 games, and they need to get a great pitching performance is what the Angels need. Also, they need somebody to go out and throw a shutout because the Angels have had trouble scoring a lot of runs.
Yeah, we talk so much about the Yankees injuries, but really the Angels getting the injuries as well. Garrett Anderson, that constant question mark. Darren Erstad. I'm being told in my ear that Dallas McPherson just hit a home run. Either I'm hearing psychic voices or it actually happened. Let's see pictures.
There it is. There's opposite field. Right there, look a little bit like Carlos Delgado today.
Him earlier today, really a prospect. They needed to step up, and maybe he was overrated.
Well, here's a guy that, you know, had a little bit of a long swing when he first came up. He went back down this year, last year as well, made some adjustments. A little bit short. I locked in on him last night. I like his swing a little bit better. I think he shortened it up a little bit. And you do have to make adjustments in the big leagues. I don't care how many home runs you hit in the minor leagues. When you get to the big leagues, good big league pitchers are going to exploit you. You saw, you know, Pedro Martinez pitch today, changing speeds. That's what good big league pitchers are going to do. It's not always going to be power and fastballs and hitters count. So showing him he'll go opposite field, that's a good sign because that means he's short to the ball with his lead arm, staying back. He's waiting longer and using the field. He had a hit or two last night as well. He looks better this year.
Yeah, one of the few Angels that had a hit or two last night because it got ugly. But
one of the few.
We move on to the future. We got more baseball in your future coming up right after this on Fox.
All across America, here they come. The chase for the cup heads south. Jimmy Johnson looks to continue his dominance as he battles Tony Stewart in the circuit's most grueling race. Live from Charlotte. Next Saturday, the Conquest Auto Parts 300 on FX. Next Sunday, the Coca-Cola 600 on Fox.
The season's biggest games unfold on Fox. Chipper Jones and the Braves are out to prove they're still the class of the NL East. But Aramis Ramirez looks to spark a turnaround and get the Cubs back on track. Fox Saturday Baseball next week. Check local listings.
Welcome back to Fox Saturday Baseball. It's our 11th season of baseball on Fox. Not for you and I. This would be six for us, starting
yes,
six.
Right, 6.
Very happy to be here with you.
Posting every weekend, making it. No days off.
Showing up for work on a regular basis. I don't think I've seen you on the DL.
No,
Me, I went into
DL.
labor. I had a good excuse.
Well, yes, you did.
And speaking of labor, it's very laborious these days watching Barry Bonds swing a bat.
Yeah, it is, and especially not just swinging the bat, but defensively, too, playing out there. I mean, I remember when they were at Dodger Stadium a couple of weeks ago and seeing him hit a ball, but it should have been an easy double down the left field line. And he was almost thrown out. He didn't even go to second base sliding. I don't think he can stop himself. He's had 3 knee operations. That right knee has really bothered him. I know he's got some elbow problems. But you know what? You need the guy. The presence is still there because guess what? Everybody's still walking him. I mean, he's not hitting for an average right now, but everybody's still putting him on, which I disagree with. I like what Ned Yost of the Brewers said.
Why would you walk Barry Bonds and then pitch to Albert Pujols?
Well, Albert's not going to be pitched too much longer either. I mean, and all respect with Barry Bonds, in the first inning, if men are not on base, I'm not walking Barry Bonds. I'm pitching to him.
By the way, they're still working at Shea.
All right.
Everybody
Overtime.
still has 4. top 10. Can't get enough of this Subway Series. I know what Joe Torre's thinking right now. This is great. Said these were the 3 longest days of his life, and Billy Wagner just made him feel a little bit longer.
And who would have thought it with Billy Wagner in a 4-run lead, just coming in to get an inning to put the game away, not a save situation. If you like to talk about stats, managers were more worried about getting the win. You got to feel good about having Billy Wagner in the mound with a 4-run lead. After the great game Pedro Martinez pitched, Juaner Sanchez, who came over in the JSO trade from the Dodgers, has been great.
You're talking about it. Let's see it. Let's see how the Yankees tie it up.
Well, they're playing halfway up the middle there, double play situation for that very reason, to try to turn 2 up the middle. Now, the reason you don't play in there, because you're at home. And if Johnny Damon punches one through the infield, guess what? The Yankees take the lead. So you do play back in that situation and try to turn 2 on Johnny Damon. They played, short up the middle, and Johnny's just so fast, he's able to beat that out just by, a half a step at most.
All right, next week, Fox Saturday Baseball continues. We'll come back for another week, don't you think?
In, yeah.
Just getting to work here. A matchup between 2 teams trying to get back on track. Andrew Jones and the Braves taking on the Cubs. What will be left of them, because we know some of them will be suspended? Or how about the Mets battling the Marlins, or the Dodgers versus the Nationals? Or some will see a showdown between 2 top teams as the Cardinals battle the Padres. It all starts next week at 1 p.m. Eastern and Pacific right here on Fox. I brought up the suspensions. What do you think's fair?
It's going to happen. I think Barrett gets about 10 games for that. I don't know what AJ said, but even if he didn't say anything, I think either way, I think Barrett gets about 10 games.
And maybe MLB reviews the tape. Do you think we'll get more
the umpires,
suspensions, but fines coming out of this?
The umpires. There'll be a lot of fines. There's definitely going to be some suspensions. I would expect Barrett to be number 1. No matter what was said. And the umpires they'll have a report. It'll go to MLB. Bob Watson will review that, get the umpires' take on what was said, what happened. But as far as just going back to baseball, the actual play, clean play by both guys. Barrett can go for the ball legally and try to block the play at the same time, as long as the ball's within vicinity, which it was. And Pierzynski has every right, when the catcher's taking the plate away from you, to barrel him over, and that's what he did. I think Barrett kind of took exception to the slap of home plate after he scored already, and then kind of a little lean in. It's just my take watching the video, but we'll hear more when we hear the guys comment about it.
Kinder, gentler play tomorrow? Nah.
I don't think this will ever be over. No. Not in Chicago.
All right, Kevin Kennedy, thanks for being here. I know you're looking forward to this. AVP Volleyball from Santa Barbara.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm right here.
Coming up next on Fox. And we will see you back here next Saturday for more MLB on Fox. Have a great weekend.
Promotional consideration paid for by